blind, I could not see, thoughtless, not free. Doctors on the scene with poisonous fists, they call it the vaccine. And if you ain't asleep, you know exactly what I mean. If my mama really knew, she would breach the roof. I just hope she knows the baby only seeks the truth. I learned not to trust the system or the institutes, and I feel I need to get that knowledge into you. Mama raised a truth seeker, every day making way, exposing the deceivers, trying to wake up all the sleepers. Listen for a minute and I'll make you a believer. Mama raised a truth seeker, every day making way, exposing the deceivers, trying to wake up all the sleepers. Listen for a minute and I'll make you a believer. In school I was taught lessons, a young truther asking questions, while all these other motherfuckers guessing. Elementary just wasn't meant for me. Y'all keep your fake history, the shit is not a mystery. That it's all lies, and if all lies would open wide and see in 2020 vision be nowhere to hide. It's so clear as a clear blue sky that we never see anymore, just trails pass by. And remember the conspiracy theorist said it's a lie. They're spraying chemicals in the air, but you still deny. So how can I get you to see anything if you're blind? Like the moon landing's fake, NASA lies all the time, and government officials are just the elite puppets. I'ma probably get murdered for saying all the shit, fuck it. Tired of this world anyway, getting bleated by the day. Sheep will keep sleeping, truth seeker, I'm away. Mama raised a truth seeker, every day making way, exposing the deceivers, trying to wake up all the sleepers. Listen for a minute and I'll make you a believer. Mama raised a truth seeker, every day making way, exposing the deceivers, trying to wake up all the sleepers. Listen for a minute and I'll make you a believer. I was cutting classes, fucking blasting, straight mapping, looking at the globe laughing. Yo, we see way too. I was cutting classes, fucking blasting, straight mapping, looking at the globe laughing. Yo, all of past pictures of Earth are fake. They're all fake. Yeah, I was cutting classes, fucking blasting, straight mapping, looking at the globe laughing. We can't get to the moon today, never mind 60 years ago. Every day making way, exposing the deceivers, trying to wake up all the sleepers. Listen for a minute and I'll make you a believer. Mama raised a truth seeker, every day making way, exposing the deceivers, trying to wake up all the sleepers.
This is a Jack Wagon free zone. Boom. Boom. It's a Jack Wagon free zone. This is a Jack Wagon free zone. Boom. Yo, welcome to the ripple effect. OGs listen while they finish their sets. Dark band, get that pitbull in check. Everything got dribbled and wet. People died a miserable death in the mud like a fish in the net. History ain't even correct. Free your mind from the prison they set. We're trying to get your vision correct. It's a Jack Wagon free zone. This is a Jack Wagon free zone. Boom. Boom. Bricks melt past 1080 degrees Celsius. On the show with the guy they call Steve. Band's cool like the wind and the breeze. Earth melted and all the mud freeze. Bake you up like a kick in the knees. Glass streams, we hit in the trees. God bless you like when we sneeze. What's the difference between a pyramid and a conical roof? Just listen to Jen if you want to know truth. Stick around and she'll show you some proof. And everything you learn, just shout from the roof. My name is Ray, and it's me in the booth. It's a Jack Wagon free zone. This is a Jack Wagon free zone. Boom. Boom. It's another component that was on the grid system. Big brother ain't so big now, more like my kid's sister. If you ever want to show a picture, Jen, I'll sit with you. Go make her taser happy, that taser's happy. I used to spend the days cutting class, puffing haze in my grades and grabbing. In the back of the class, Ray was napping. It's a Jack Wagon free zone. This is a Jack Wagon free zone. Boom.
Tell me it was all in my head, that I don't know what I'm larger than hills, but the term has no standardized geological meaning.
Meltology 101, baby. Once you see the melted bricks, you won't fall for their lame-ass tricks. Geologist, you're fired.
Larger than hills, but the term has no standardized geological meaning.
Boom, baby!
Just how many, quote, natural formations are really just extremely weathered, once extremely large stone-built structures? Maybe there are many stone granite hills, and even maybe mountains that dot our earth, which grand structures of the forgotten people.
Boom, baby!
What we found is melted glass spherules. So this is our first clue that some high temperature event had happened. What we found is melted glass spherules. So this is our first clue that some high temperature event had happened.
Temperature sufficient to melt Earth, basically. Is that what you're saying? Hot enough to melt a car into a molten puddle of metal in the parking lot. Right.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. Hey Shapu, how you doing?
Hi Jen, I'm doing great.
I love that. That's their first clue that there was an extreme heat event. They have glass little spherules.
Yep.
But there's melt all around them though.
Exactly.
That was their first clue. Uh-oh, we have a surprise guest. Here he is.
Surprise? I'm just surprised. My name's on the darn thumbnail.
You're in the title. It's not really a surprise.
Yeah, surprise.
I was surprised you showed up.
Right? I was surprised too.
Oh my gosh.
Shoot. Okay. What do we got? Which button is this? I'm looking at this one. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, what's wrong with what's going on with this thing here? Fix my virtual background. How's it going? What y'all been talking about?
We just got here. We just arrived.
There you go. Yeah. That looks about right. Somewhere in there, right? We'll go like that.
So yeah, it's good to be back. I haven't really live streamed since my birthday. I've had a lot going on in life, guys. I've really been going through it in my personal life, steamrolling towards March madness. I can't even imagine what March is going to be like if February's already been this crazy. So I just keep praying. Really, that's all we can do.
And honestly, the only reason I was late is I had to find this.
Oh, nice shirt.
Well, I'm on your show, so.
All right. I love it. I don't even have something for that.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I like that one. I use that one.
I stole this one off.
I don't care. Aren't they great? I love those.
This will hook me up.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, we got all kinds of new drops now.
Nice. That's right. Now we're cooking with grease. It says Mesa Melt. Yes.
I got to get back over here to the chat. See, the thing is I got to stay on the drops, and Shapu's going to stay on the comments.
All right, I'll go on chat too. I like talking.
I can't do both.
like distiller. Nice to see you. That's a fun, interesting name. Dill. I can't even say it. DYL.
Are you tardy?
I always am. Trust me. Well, I don't know.
Distiller.
Anyways, good to see you.
Distiller.
I don't know, but this seemed like there was an extra L in there.
Nice.
Distiller. See, there's an L in there.
I think you gotta be drunk to pronounce this name.
It could be a family name. I always was afraid of doing that. Like, I'll say the name and try to be nice about it, but who knows? Maybe it's like a really fast town name. Well, thanks, Emilios, man.
Yeah, we like you too. Our melted reality Mark is here. What's up, Mark? How you doing?
What's up, Mark? Yeah.
Mark said he will be at the meetup, guys. So if you're looking forward to meeting your favorite YouTubers talking about Meltology, Mark will be there for sure.
Nice.
And I'm really looking forward to it. Did you see the live stream that I did up there at my mother the other day?
I watched part of it.
I caught the end and it cut, so.
Yeah, I think I got in the same time you did, Shapu.
When I got down behind that cabin and I was going around the backside, I seen the little doggy door back there. I think I was too low. I was getting low and the signal cut out on me. It just cut off. It was only like about an hour I live streamed.
It happens.
Yeah.
But we had fun. It's going to be a good time. And tomorrow and Thursday is going to be 80 degrees here. 80 degrees February, guys. It's just been so mild.
And we're going to do the opposite. Next week, we're supposed to be starting to hit in the 20s again. 20 to 30, which is, it's weird. We've had like no winter, very little, compared to the rest of the country that's just getting inundated. It's sad. I feel bad for them, but we've been skating by, I guess.
Yeah, that has been here too. And if it's going to be 8 February, what's going to be like in April? Who knows? I don't know. But last summer was ungodly hot and humid. So I'm hoping it's not that bad again, but it was just too hot to even go outside. It reminded me like Florida. It's like I was living in Florida again, South Florida. So that's a little too much to handle. But tonight we're going to be kind of flying by the seat of our pants. There's lots of different things to discuss. A lot of things have been going on as of late, and I have not been privy to a lot of it. I get a lot of messages from people telling me what's going on and stuff. I have not seen any shows or anything. I do know that someone named Bro Sanchez, which I used to follow him back in the day on my original channel. He used to do transvestigations and stuff like that when I was into it. And somehow he managed to have on his show a Meltology topic with some people on there. And I heard it was a real crazy fiasco. So
I'm with you. I'm not watching any of these things, but I get reports. It's kind of fun to hear. Because it's like fun. If a tree falls in the forest, you're not there to hear it. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
I just find it interesting that somebody said my Facebook page was up during the show on the live stream. I have no clue why that was, but whatever.
Maybe they're trying to learn.
All I know is every time somebody starts talking about Meltology and it's this whole big hoo-ha about it, I get more subscribers. So thank you very much.
A drop would go in there, Jen. See,
I should have been on it.
I don't have anything.
I don't have any.
It's showtime.
How's that?
All right.
Okay. Here's this one.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Nice. That's a good one. I never gone to the Star Wars clips. That's great.
I got one more, but I'm going to save it. We're going to
well,
save
you better,
yeah. Surprise. All right. So a lot of people have been asking if we could recover the grain growth and the polymorphs and stuff like that, and showing how to explain better what's going on within these brick walls that have huge boulders in them, or the polygonal structures. And, we're told that these megalithic sites were carved and, moved into place somehow and stuff like that. When we're coming to find out that a lot of this stuff is actually just from the extreme heat event, and what heat actually does to these things and how it expands them out. And you can look at it on a micro level and see it on the macro level out in our world. And it's exactly what's going on. But a lot of people aren't familiar with it. They're new to the channel. They have not gone back and watched all the earlier live streams, or maybe you missed it off of another channel of mine that got taken down. That could be as well. So we're going to go over some of that stuff. And Shapu's got a bunch of stuff lined up as well behind behind all that once we get into that. And I know CFM, maybe you brought a little something with you.
I did.
Good.
My talk's going to go more into like the real world as they describe it to us, gemology and how those things are formed, diamonds, gold, things like that. So because part of the thing that was told to me is one of the things that's being questioned is like our knowledge of things, and we just look at pictures, and so I'm here to kind of help with that. So that's basically where my presentation is whenever you want to fit it in. So.
Absolutely. I feel that we are, doing really well as far as teaching ourselves what's happening and learning as we go here. This is a whole new topic of research. It's untouched. It's brand new, and they don't want you looking at it. The mainstream wants you to believe in the ball, the globe, and their globe model and geology, and the millions of years that things take to form. We can clearly see evidence of some major devastation that took place that involved most likely heat and water. I think water was on the back end of it. And this is why we tend to remember the flood story, because it was at the back end of this event that took place. It possibly could have been the cooling mechanism that came in and solidified everything mid-melt, because you could see that things were melting and then they just stopped. And so that's very interesting as well, like kind of like a fail-safe system, like a sprinkler system, if you will, to this thing that we're in, this creation that we're in. It would make sense that it would have some kind of fail-safe system like that. You could call it God's judgment, a cyclical event that takes place. Clearly, the creator, whoever created this, is in charge of what takes place here, and it has these fail-safe mechanisms in place I think this reality, this place itself, may have a certain shelf life. CFM, you were talking on your show about 5,500 years or a 6,000-year cycle.
Well, I was going by. I'm reading the books of Adam and Eve, and in that there's a couple things. One is what do you call it? Shoot, what were you just asking me? I'm sorry, the comment threw me off there.
About the 6,000-year cycle?
Right. 5,500 years is what God tells Adam he has to wait before he can come back to the garden. And when you do the timelines, we're close, I would think. Because, you also have to believe that whoever's in charge of timekeeping. So, like, for instance, there's a big discussion on what day is God's day Sabbath, okay? And we've come to understand it's Saturday, which, okay, there's probably scriptures and words that equal that. But my thing is this: we have to believe whoever started counting in the Gregorian calendar, because that's when they started it, didn't lose track of the days of the week. Now, I don't know about you all, but I forget sometimes. Wait, is today Thursday or Friday? You know what I mean? And so we have to hope that since the beginning of time that they've counted the Gregorian calendar, no one's lost track of those days. So that's the thing. The calendars are different in the Bible than we have. The dates are different. And so when God told Adam, you fell out of the garden, and he says, I will bring you back. He doesn't say I might. He says, I will, but you have to wait 5,500 years. And so we're pretty close.
Right. So is it the Jewish calendar that's in the 5,000s right now?
Yeah, I think they follow closer to that. I don't exactly know what they use, but here, can I screen share something real quick?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Clickety click. Okay. Yeah. Am I share? Okay. So what I believe, because I believe there's a lot of divides, right? They want to divide us on everything. They want to divide us in what we believe in, and say your religion and your race and your everything is a divide. Well, I believe there's a divide here too. They want to split us up on the people that have seen that there's some, as you call it, X factor that happened. There's people that believe that some things were melted, and there's people that believe they were just flooded. And I maybe am in my own little scenario, but other people I'm sure are with me. So if you look at the timeline that we're given from the beginning of creation all the way, now this person thinks that we're here, the beginning of tribulations, which again, none of us know for certain. God even says we don't know the times and dates. But this is my theory. If tribulation and the first coming of Christ happen, Revelations, the first time God does the reset is when he does it with water in the Moses days. The second time he does the reset, he promised no more water with the rainbow. He does it with fire. So then there's 1,000-year reign with Christ. And then they all recede to some area we're not allowed to go to. And they waited out for what? What I used to be called the short season of Satan, but now it's the little season, pizza. So what happens in the little season? Satan's deceiving the leftovers, the remnants, with, huge deception of the world and pharmacy. We've all talked about it. There's a huge deception going on. And so if we are living where I feel right here, waiting for this Satan's last stand, which will be basically a real retelling of tribulations, because he's going to mimic and imitate what God did for us. So if that's the case, check this out. Some things got flooded, some things got melted. So we're looking at this spot. So some of the buildings we're looking at, they were flooded. Some of the buildings we're looking at, they got melted. Sometimes you might see a combination of both. Maybe the first building stood the flood a little bit and then got melted in the final one.
Absolutely.
But if I'm living in this state here, it doesn't matter if it was melted. It doesn't matter if it was flooded or mud flooded or whatever. And it doesn't even matter if it was one event or multiple events. We don't know. Like in this picture here that I have, here, let me bring this up. Where are you guys? Let me bring this up. I have this picture or photo, image, what does NASA call them? It's in downloads here. Here you go.
There's a show that they had out called The Leftovers.
Yeah, I think that's going on right now,
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Okay, so let's see. Let me bring this back up. Click. Go over here. Here. I don't know whose cat. Probably Shabu's. Okay.
All right, here we go.
There. Is it there or is it not there? Where'd it go? Shoot.
It was there.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, I'll move it away. So, we don't know what God's judgment is. And so this in a picture, or a drawing or image or whatever of God's judgment of the Tower of Babel, whatever could possibly melt this down, it's a fervent heat. We don't know what that means with our little human pea brains. But God's timeline is all at once. So did this happen all at once? Did it happen in multiple places all over the earth, multiple times? It's hard to say, because he did melt Sodom and Gomorrah. There's numerous cities and I think kings that he talks about that he destroyed. And then there's, of course, the Tower of Babel incident and then Revelation. And so if you add all those potential times when God's wrath has struck the earth and add to that all of the stuff that's underwater or melted from the flood, is it ever going to be possible for us to discern what judgment created that thing? The thing lies in, it's like the Mandela effect to me. I don't care what caused it, who did it, how it was done. It reminds me that this Mandela effect tells me we live in like a supernatural world. And it proves existence to me for God. So the same thing. I don't care how these things got melted or muffed up or whatever, but God's judgment did it. And that's the remnant that we need to see. Because I'll go over crystals, but that doesn't change this. Just because I know how crystal structure grows doesn't change these. This one. I saw these on, was that Spartan Red today? God, those guys are funny. And how do you put that? How did they build that house inside that? I mean, come on. It's so obvious if you look at it with those that have eyes to see.
Yeah, that's for sure. You can't unsee it neither.
You can't unsee it. And that there's brick lines and stuff, and it's just
there's sedimentary layers.
And then this one, look at this.
Wow.
This one blew me away. This they had on today. You can see where the building goes right into the rock, and of course it's blackened from the heat. Look at this area up here. So where's the building then become the rock?
Exactly.
Right?
Well, because they used the narrative that they carved it, but then I guess they just stopped and then continued carving over there and then just, I think, carved some melted steps along the way. Yeah.
And then they even go and show that, like, if you were to look at this hill back here, it has more of the same little windows and pockets of survival throughout the hill behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. We don't understand how massive these structures were.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
You can literally see the drip lines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like melted wax.
Melted like wax. Yep.
And that talks about it in the Bible. And so anyways, I can go over real quick if you want. I'll run my thing real fast if you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
sure.
I just want to say something about
please.
What you just said, because for me, both goes together, like the melt and the water, because if when the melt happens and the buildings are all destroyed, some of these buildings hold water, and when these buildings are, if there was like rivers and oceans and stuff like that, all the melt will flow and make the water rise, everywhere, because all of this melt, just like you drop like a bucket of sand in water, your water will rise drastically by the amount of things you put in. So as the buildings melt and destroyed, it makes the water everywhere rise at the same time, and the fail-safe, if there's a fail-safe, and all these, I think that they had like these big towers that was holding water to supply all the water everywhere, like we have today, water towers.
Yeah.
We probably had them also, because it's so easy. The technology of these water towers, I will call it gravity, but that's how they work, and they probably had many of them back then, and they were destroyed, and the water spilled everywhere also. So it can be both at the same, not at the same time, but one after the other.
It does talk in the Bible about the gates of heaven opening and the water coming out, or when you look at the dome and the structure of our flat Earth plane, it shows these gates that open in heaven, in the dome, that seem to let some kind of water in.
Heat creates condensation, and condensation in the enclosed system will create a lot of rain. So
absolutely,
it's
and if the dome's made of
everything,
some kind of ice, it could be ice crystals up there that the dome is made of. At least one outer layer of it, the outer layer that's in our inner dome part, that could be shedding as the heat rises. You know what I mean? There's so many variables we don't know.
Well, the amazing thing is no matter how much time you spent researching this, not a single one of us was there, and not a single one of us will ever be able to most likely prove anything. But all we can do is just go by, like we learn flat Earth or wherever we live, by our eyes and our experiences, and that's what we've been doing. And I find it fascinating that the straw man arguments that are coming across us is to me, it's just hilarious. And here, let me bring up my pictures. So let's see. I think it's this file. Okay. So I'll bring this. Clickety click. Bunk. All right, there.
All right, here we go. Yep.
Well, first of all, I thought this was interesting that my wife found this. Is that you can do this yourself, but if you look up the map of the Turkey's earthquake disaster and emergency map, it's just coincidence, I'm sure.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so I talked about this on my show. We have, as you call them, haters and deniers and stuff, and I don't mind criticism. I'll listen to it. But somebody said I took this meme and I put my ceiling fan on it, and then I wrote, "Why are there steps melted?" Because it looks like that to me. And I got people yell. One person was like, "Oh, so you think that you're like Jesus now? You're God complex." Because and I'm like, first of all, I don't even know that's Jesus. I don't know how you make that leap. But even so, like, okay, that's not me. That's Matter 9 satellite. But okay, so then I figured, fine, I'll put it over here. But then I thought, well, no, that's above Jesus that they say. So that's like his halo and God. That's got to be really God complex. So then I thought maybe I could put my name on all the faces. But then that's definitely, right, God complex.
Right.
So here's the thing. Someone sent me that. Here's the thing. This is the way I see these discussions and arguments. Is this story? The speed race wanted to know the fastest dogs or the cheetah, but the cheetah did not move a finger and sat in place. And when people asked the race coordinator what happened, he said after seeing him, sometimes trying to prove you're the best is an insult. And I'm not saying you're the best. I'm saying I don't feel like getting into the mud and trying to fight over this silliness that is coming our way, because it's a straw man argument. And if you don't know what that is, let's refresh. And I learned it from a lot of the people that are attacking us. Funny. So the straw man argument, you ignore the real argument. You pretend you create a new one. You defeat the new one. You claim victory, and you do a victory dance. Okay. So the reason I'm bringing this up, one of the things that was said about us, I guess, is that we do no research. All we do is look at pictures. And two things. One is Jen and I and my wife, we went to the ape caves and we did boots on the ground. I still have, these are like, I don't know if you can see on there, there's all the rocks that I collected with you all. And there's red bricks in there inside the lava tube of the ape cave. So, and you found some big ones, Jen. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we were told that we have no knowledge on crystals. And see, again, straw man argument, because they said, apparently we thought that, here, let me bring this down so I can see the camera again. They said that we thought this stone, which is amber, which is fossilized tree sap, could grow into this stone, which is quartz. Okay. And I don't know where they came up with that other than inventing it. Because I've never said it. None of you have ever said it. And if someone's out there saying it, what does that have to do with us? So here's what I want to say about crystals. Because they say that we actually have no knowledge of crystals. And I say nay. Because my knowledge of crystals didn't come from a mystical store where they sell tarot cards. I studied it in college. And let's see, is there sound on this? I cover a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's see if you can hear this. Can you hear this? So I thought I'd cover a little bit about mine. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay. So I thought I'd cover a little bit about my knowledge on stones and gemstones and crystals and so forth. So like this is a whole chart on different treatments that they can do to fill stones and diamonds specifically on this one. There's a lot of the books that I have that I've read over the years. And this is just a small, I pulled as many out of my library behind as I could just to showcase as many as I put on this bed. Because see, these are the books that I did when I went to gemology school at GIA. And we had to learn each one of these and then take tests. This one, let's see, there's 2 volumes on colored gemstones, and then you do your grading test, and then this one is on, there's diamonds, and then there's the diamond grading test I had to take, and, gem identification connected to both. These are certificates that I received for the classes that I did. I believe I passed this class when I was 20, and I started doing paid appraising of gemstones at 24. And this is like my microscope that I use. And so I just wanted to say that I have a little knowledge of what I'm talking about when it comes to gemstones and crystals, but it's very different than evidence of revelation in my mind. Okay. So for any of the deniers, haters, liars, whatever, false accusers out there, we have knowledge. We have knowledge, but knowing knowledge of crystals and structures and how they grow doesn't change the fact that some things have been melted or waterboarded or whatever. You know what I mean? They're two separate subjects. The straw man is to take the crystal subject and pretend that we decided that amber can turn into gemstones. I mean, amber is a gemstone, but to a crystal. It's nonsense. We've never said that. Straw man argument. It's fine. Here's the books. You all want to know if you see, I believe in the Bible. If anybody that doesn't know me yet.
It's showtime.
What was that one? I couldn't see it. Okay. I don't even know what happened, but I'm sure it was great. So my information, I'm being able to correlate to things in the Bible, because if you bring up, that's why I brought these books out. I've had them, like I said. I looked it up, and I was 22 when I started learning this, and like I said, at 24 I was already doing it professionally. And so when you look at let's start with diamonds, which is a crystal, right? Because the other thing I was told somehow, because I believe in meltology or mud flood or whatever you want to call these things, I call it revelations, that somehow I believe in evolution. It's this funny, again, straw man argument. So let's see what you believe in. If you don't believe, you want to go with how mainstream crystals tell you. Okay, so here we go. What's a diamond? A diamond is a mineral made of carbon that's crystallized. Okay, it's the only one that we know of that's one substance. This is something that people come in and they used to say, oh, I've got carbon spots in my diamond. That's actually a fallacy. If it's pure carbon, everything that isn't carbon was an inclusion in the diamond. We used to call them imperfections, but they changed it to sound nicer. So it's inclusions.
Yeah, it's double speak.
Right? Like everything else. Okay. Yeah. And here we go. So let's see. Let's move on. And if this is too much, I'll stop it. I think
you're good.
Okay. So here we go. Where do diamonds come from? Now, remember, we've only dug 8 miles deep ever, right?
Right.
Diamonds form between 75 and 120 miles beneath the Earth's surface, under the huge rock plates of the continents. These are the only places necessary for the temperature and pressure conditions. Geologists estimate the first we go down here. Periodically during the Earth's history, diamonds were delivered to the surface by a special kind of volcanic eruption.
Of course. Of course.
Geologists estimate that the first delivery became more than 2.5 billion years ago, and the most recent we're aware of is 45 million years ago.
Unbelievable. Can we go back to I want to go back to where it says in that first paragraph, it says, this is the only place where the temperature and pressure is sufficient enough to form. That's not true, because that in there is where the lie is. It's because these buildings are heated, and you have heat and pressure during this X factor event while the building is pushing down on itself under extreme heat. And then you have your crystallization, especially during the solidification process.
Yeah. So, where were we in the CFM gemstone class?
25 billion years ago.
Thank you there, teacher, for reminding me where we were. I got lost.
This is how they explain how rocks are formed. It's called a lithification, and it's a gradual a collection of minerals over 1,000 and thousands of or millions of years, to create underwater, because the water supposedly makes the pressure on a rock, but the rock is heavier than the water. So how can something lighter than something make pressure on something? It's
I have the answer to that.
Oh, baby.
It's called, they tell you because of science and math, and shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so after
my knowledge is just about this realm we live in. I know all the basis rules of this realm. That's what I go to. You cannot create something more than it is. It's cannot invent anything. It's already there.
That's right.
So what's funny is I want to do this not just because I want to showcase that I know we know what we're talking about, but also I don't think they even know their position. It's kind of like the globe people when they yelled at us and called us retarded for believing we didn't live on a globe. Well, now we're being yelled at and called retarded, and being called multiple other things because we don't agree with their ball theory. Because honestly, you are on a ball if you believe in this whole crystal theory. And it's, why do I know this? Because I studied it in JAA school. Look it up. It's the international school for this. It's the one that
because they should be able to formulate a theory on how these crystals form on the flat plane.
Right. So I'm giving you their theory because they might not even know it. So here we go. So after reaching the surface 45 million years ago or longer ago, some of the diamonds settled back into their volcanic chimneys or pipes. Millions of years of erosion washed countless others onto streams and rivers, creating the alluvial deposits and potholes and eddies. Both pipes and alluvial deposits are important sources of diamonds and so forth, okay? So let's move on from there. These are the areas that they're finding them.
Yeah.
The majority of the places. But here's an interesting thing. Let's see, where is it? They don't know when diamonds were originally discovered. Diamonds were probably discovered in India before 500. But they don't know for certain. They're just once again guessing.
Motherfucker.
That's my favorite. Where is it? Is it in this one? Let's see. Maybe it's in this one. Next one here. Let's see. Because this is what they always show us, people like that digging them out and stuff. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, this is good. So it says here, again, diamonds form only under certain chemical, temperature, and pressure conditions. Scientists estimate that the necessary conditions, back to that same, BS. This area is called the diamond stability field, which is between 75 and 120 miles in an area we have no idea of knowing that.
But they'll make a movie called The Core so they could show you in television land and movie land, give you a visual of what these diamond stratas look like as they're pushing through to the core.
I love it. That's what I'm saying. These people that are into this stuff don't even know their own lore. So I'm going to read it to them. Calculation. This is how they come up with it. Evidence of the stability field's location, that's where the diamonds are, come from 4 basic sources. Okay. Calculations and the combinations of temperature and pressure that define the boundary between carbon crystallization as graphite, carbon, and crystallized diamond. There's your science, Shapu. And math. Information obtained through successful experiments to produce synthetic diamond. Oh, there's the science. The first one, I guess, is math. There's the science. Studies of magmas that have brought diamonds to the Earth's surface correlate with estimates of the depths from which they came and calculate. So that's all just guessing. So that's part of the shut up. And then analysis of the inclusions that act as thermometers and barometers, giving a record. So again, they're just analyzing their own data that they created. Okay, right. So that's how we know where diamonds live. So this is great. I'm learning. I don't know about you all.
Nobody's actually been down 150 miles down or 120 miles down to even see if there's really diamonds. They're guessing, and on their guess, their theory, they're basing all their data.
Right.
They make some shit up too and give you a whole bunch of data and stuff with it.
We're not even in the best part yet. So here we go. You want to see how diamonds form? There we go.
Funny. It's funny you bring that because I just saw an article today that they have just found a new core. Inside the iron core, there's another iron core.
I covered it last night. I covered on Friday. There was an extra layer they just discovered.
Yeah,
and they had a new picture, and I said someone must have cut the Earth in half, taken a photo from a satellite, and stuck it back on.
Yeah.
So we've been seeing this core picture forever, and sure, this is where diamonds come from. So that's why I say, if you believe in the crystal theory, unless you can create your own, then you have to live on a ball. End of story. It's not I'm saying it. They're saying it. Science. Current scientific theory suggests the planet we live on evolved from material which accumulated from a primitive cloud of gas and dust. And you know the Big Bang and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so again, we'll go into here. It goes over all the different things, the tectonic plates and this whole idea that,
pressure,
the Earth looked like this part, and It's all connected. You can't have one without the other. And so, where is it?
I believe some people sat around and made up this fucking BS and sold it to us and shit. And have people pay for it. This false information.
Let's see. This talks about
your previous picture. It was like all the places where the most diamonds are.
The blue shaded areas.
Yeah, it looks like where the most of the buildings were hit. Also, is
yeah, because
all these places. They have
that's Tartar.
Right, they have many places that have a lot of remains and melted stuff all around these rounded places. So, there's no coincidence.
No coincidences. All right, so this talks about the growth rate of crystals, because that's something people are always curious about. It depends on the chemistry, temperature, and pressure. Under nearly ideal conditions in laboratory synthesis, everything. 1 carat crystal can grow in about a week. And that was back in, when this article, I think it was back in the late 80s, early 90s. And so the technology is way different now. They have all kinds of processes that they can do this. The first one, I think, was in the 50s by GE. That's how long they've been doing synthetic diamonds. And so, again, I'm not arguing crystals. I'm not arguing how they grow, necessarily how fast they can grow. I've seen people take stuff on that. I think you showed it, Chapu. They hang it off of this waterfall, and it starts to fossilize and get crystals on it. So I'm not arguing crystals. I'm arguing that there are some things that are obviously been melted or flooded.
I think what they don't like is you will remove the effect of the crystal. What they don't know, it's them. They believe in this crystal. It's you that makes your crystal like what you call magic or have properties. It's you're
100% on that, Chapu. It's like they're talismans, or what do they call them in Harry Potter? It's all the same thing. It's idol worship when you start worshiping a rock. And think that it's giving you power. They've done it throughout the history of time. Look, here's the thing here. Let me see. It's from it was an emerald, and it says the metaphysical powers. Emerald is the powerful heart healing stone that brings warmth and positive emotions to those wearing it. It's also known to bring domestic bliss, and keeping one in your home will encourage peace and harmony. I mean, who told you that? They just make shit up.
Exactly.
Make shit up.
But if you believe it, you're gonna have a good day.
Because you're tearing apart the narrative, so it's going to break down every layer that you have to now rethink this whole thing about crystals and what they actually are and where they come from.
So almost all diamonds are carried to the surface by a specific type of periodite rock called kimberlite. The Australian diamonds were carried by a similar type of rock called lamprite. The question on whether or not kimberlite is the rock material from which diamonds has given rise to seemingly endless contradictory scientific debate. See, they don't even, their own theory, they don't even agree on the volcano theory. They don't. The frick.
Motherfucker.
On YouTube because they went into a mystical bookshop and bought a tarot card and then looked at a crystal and read a little thing that said it makes magical healing powers and believed it. Go for it. But the scientists don't even know how the frickin' diamonds got here.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what I think? And you know what I think we should do to geologists?
You're fired.
Boom, baby.
Is that the other one I haven't seen? That one's good.
Thank you, Chapu.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So here you go. If you guys want to know how diamonds form in the scientific crystal world, here you go. The evolution of a diamond pipe. And see, it's down here in this area that we're just guessing, of course, because when you look at this picture, I'll show you. You want to see how far 8 miles is? See that black line there at the very top?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like an eighth of the way down from that line.
Yeah.
I'll even give you the line if you want to say we know the entire. Well, wait, that's supposed to be Earth's surface. Okay, so where the hand is here, maybe is that 8 miles? I don't know.
What's
It's
the other
probably
end of this picture? At the other end of the picture here, there's a guy with a ladder going down. Is that 8 miles?
Okay, so what you have here is after they blow through the surface through the volcano, then they fall back down into this. And then this is the area where they've set up shop and they're going to start digging into these tubes to get the diamonds. And it has to come from where?
A volcano.
Right, and the molten core and all that stuff. It's got to. It's the only way it works. So
magma. There's all kinds of magma under our feet.
Right?
Yeah.
And then some of these pictures are fascinating to me. And since I started doing my show, I have people in Africa talking to me, and they say that they find a lot of diamonds on beaches and stuff, which I didn't know. They never really explained that to us when we were taking the courses. But as you can see, this is a seawall they've put up against this ocean, and they're literally digging out the beach area and stuff.
Oh, look at that. Look at those rocks. It's all melted.
Yeah. What I found funny about this magma, it's everywhere, but with all these caverns and caves that they supposedly dug, no one has ever punched a hole and magma came through, you know? That's
right.
Why? How come? You know? Where is it?
That's cool. I like it. You know, another fascinating story about this. So think about how big a diamond is. Literally, you can put it in your pocket. And so the what they tell us is, and I haven't been there, but these machines, when they bring them in, they're never allowed to leave, because you can literally hide gemstones anywhere and never be able to know where it is. So any truck, car, machinery stays here.
Interesting.
Isn't that fascinating? Yeah. So don't drive your car to work. Okay, here's the thing I was looking for. So think about it. It says that they think diamonds were found like in 500 BC, but they don't know, right? It's more they just guess. So when do we actually have the existence of diamonds in our reality? And would you believe it? It's the 1800s.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Everything is
Of course it is.
Oh, shit.
It's showtime.
Nah, I think we go with the mother guy. I think we go with that one.
Right? I think I hope he's all the way up here.
I'll forget it.
I gotta move him around.
Motherfucker.
Fantastic. Okay, so here we go. So the first diamond discovered in South Africa is called Eureka. And its meaning is in Greek is I found it. And the story begins on a farm. I'm sorry?
It was founded.
Founded, right? It was founded. And look where it was founded. Near the Orange River, of course. Where's the rest of it? It's Orange River in Hopetown District. And it was found by Erasmus Jacobs and Hottentot shepherd named Clonky. What the heck is a Hottentot?
Dude, it sounds like a porn movie or something. What's going on?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's showtime. Yeah. So where is it? So in 1866, I should read as a dramatic reading or something. Erasmus Jacobs and his Hottentot shepherd named Klondike.
You can't handle the truth.
This is the truth.
It came in late. Sorry.
This is the truth. Everyone, this is the truth. Okay. Clonky, which is even funnier than Klondike bar. So Clonky went out to cut wood. On the way, Clonky tossed a shiny pepper at Erasmus. No, Erasmus. Sorry.
His brother came in the back door. Clinky.
Yeah,
clinker.
right? So who pocketed it and took it home and gave it to his sister to play with.
Oh,
now we get a new character. Schlock von Nykirk visited the Jacobs farm shortly thereafter, and Miss Jacobs mentioned the shiny stone. Van Nykirk, recalling that diamond was hard enough. Where is it? Hard enough to scratch glass.
Yeah.
And he experimented on one of the windows, and sure enough, it scored the glass. And if you ever visit Carlsberg, you will see the window pane which he did it on. Okay, now, before we continue, I just need to tell you about a misnomer. There's a thing called the Mohs scale. And for those of you that don't know, or you didn't take my courses, I'll explain it.
Yeah.
So what that is the hardness scale. It's not about crushing or cracking or cleaving. It's about hardness as far as scratching. And 10 is the top, which is diamond. And anything of equal value or above will scratch things below it. In other words, a diamond will scratch anything. Ruby, sapphire, which actually are the same stone, that's another we can talk about, are 9. So diamonds can scratch them, but they can't scratch the diamond. But they can scratch anything below 9s. And so when you take a glass, which I don't remember, 5, it's down there on the numbers.
Yeah.
That means you can actually take a piece of glass and scratch glass.
Right.
So scratching glass doesn't prove it's a diamond. It
so
proves
these people who got a problem with us, they can go scratch.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So Van Nykerk thought the pebble might be a diamond, and on his next visit to Hopetown, he showed it to some traders. Although they expected it was a diamond, they couldn't prove it. I mean, listen to this story. Van Nykerk returned to his farm, gave the stone to his wife, who kept it in her sewing basket. Hey, that's what you need to use your sewing basket for, hon. In March of 1867, he showed it to a hunter named John O'Reilly, who volunteered to take this stone with him to Carlsberg. And so they said, hey, John, what do you think of this? He goes, you know what? I can't tell. We'll do it live. I'll take it with me. So that's my joke. So O'Reilly showed it to the civil commissioner, who suggested sending it to another geologist in Grammar. So O'Reilly stuck the stone in an envelope and mailed it after the test and da-da-da. So anyways, the government...
They just said the geologist confirmed it was a diamond, but they didn't know.
They didn't even know what a diamond was. How did they know it was a diamond?
Motherfucking titty sucking two-ball bitch.
Wow, that's a sentence. So, so anyways, that's pretty much the original story of what diamonds really got into our history. Was, once again, like I said, the 1800s with this ridiculous story. And then these are supposed photos of the actual diamond rush, and where you would purchase a license, and then you could just claim out a stake of land and start digging. And that's what this supposed photo is.
Do they talk about the Kinley mine? Is this it here?
Right there.
Yeah,
right
there it is. There it is. Yep.
So in 1873, the diggings were a dangerous maze of private claims. So you can see what's going on here. And it gets even crazier.
It looks to me like they're digging up buildings here. I mean, just look at it.
Because even when I was growing up and reading this stuff and looking at it, I'm like, this is really weird structures that they dug.
Exactly.
Like, why did they make these like squared off things and then ladder down?
Blue has some amazing pictures on this, and literally it looks like they're digging down into a melted, mud flooded town. Like it's just crazy. It looks like an archaeological site, not a fucking mine.
Totally. Okay. So, and that was in 1873 when they started. Then you can see in 1871 what it's looking like now. There's camps set up everywhere, and they're just digging away.
So by now they should have a giant post office, a huge Capitol building. What's going on here? We just got tents.
Right? Yeah. If before these guys, they were building these like crazy Greek-looking Roman structures everywhere, why are they just building little boxes?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, so then that's what, then you go 1871, and then 1872, it's starting to look like this.
Yeah.
And then you go down here, and this one that really got me in 1875. Look at this.
Yeah, Chaput has pictures of this.
And like you say, yeah, these look definitely like little brick structures in here and stuff right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're mining a building.
And then, of course, how the mining companies grow. So basically what happens is, this is in 1880 now. And again, these buildings are probably the ones that they founded.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else was the little huts and I see a lot of oxen. I don't see any giant workhorses, but oxen can haul things, of course. There's no pictures of any workhorse, oxen, or any beast of burden in these upper floors. They're always on the ground. And so if you wanted to take a gigantic stone block and put it on top of the Taj Mahal, you better have
something for you.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Okay, I'll move on. Remind me, I want to see that. So then what happens? Of course, the Illuminati families come in and they take over, and De Beers is formed. And this is 1891, and Barney Bernardo is basically one of him, and I think Cecil Rhodes is the other guy. And you can look into their histories, but again, 1888, and they get the consolidated mines, and we're on our way. And they now control all the diamond mining, majority of it, through for quite a while throughout the world. This one I thought was interesting just because it was one of the things that taught me about how light works. And I thought it was funny because look at the sun's rays are not, I don't know why I'm showing that. But this one's great. Okay, here's one of my favorite things that I looked through. I haven't looked at these books for many years, but here's Superman, of course, in his crystal palace. Now, you ready for this one? Check this out, Jen. Prophets, movie makers, and science fiction writers have filled our imaginations with dazzling descriptions of gardens, cities, and heavens made of sparkling crystals. But the truth is even more amazing than their various fictions, right? Because the real fiction's even worse. We live in a crystal-filled world. Some are big enough to carve into globes for probing the future. Some are so, right? You like it? It gets better. Some are so small they can be seen by only the most sophisticated magnifying instruments of modern technology. And common mineral crystals and rare gem crystals are only part of this picture. Basically, a crystal is any bit of solid matter whose atoms are arranged in a regular repeating pattern. Crystals can form both organically and inorganically. They can grow in plants and animals, as well as in molten rock or in a laboratory. In fact, scientists have discovered that almost all solids are crystalline. Even though glass is generally considered non-crystalline, it has patches or small areas with crystal structure. It would be impossible to list all of the crystalline materials that are part of your daily life, but here are a few. Your teeth, your bones, sugar, salt, snow, ice, sand, aspirin, galvanized steel, cellulose in plants, nylon, gems, and pearls.
Water.
And your eyeballs crystallize too when you die and they were just left to do their thing, they would crystallize.
But again, none of this has to do with fervent heat or melted buildings or mud floods or any events of Revelation. None of this. Okay, next. This is when I was with you, Jen. Yes. And it was you and myself and Steve and Young Love and her mom. Yeah, and her mom. And we found this building that there was a building over here and a building behind us, but they had taken and they were paving over all of this brick. And when you connected the two, it was one long building that we were standing on.
Exactly.
They were covering it up. Like this building connected all the way across to the building behind me. And so fascinating stuff. And in fact, we pulled some bricks out of that on the ground. And I had mine tested because I had a friend that has that little machine, tells you what's in it. And it said that there was rhodium, iron, zinc, copper, and titanium in the little pieces that we pulled out. And
nice.
I'll show you what it looks like when I'm off the screen share. So let's see. This one I think is just a good thing to look at. So I think I covered them all. Yeah. So let me get out of that. And this is
really good.
That's the crystals that it's not focusing.
Absolutely. Now the mortar becomes quartz crystal. And I see that a lot up at Mount Chiha, the parallel running mortar lines everywhere that they call our quartz crystal now.
Yeah. And so so this is supposed to be petrified wood that has, crystallized. So I don't know what the argument is. I'm just trying to show this is something called tiger's eye made into a pyramid. This is how a crystal grows if it's an emerald. This is how a crystal grows if it's quartz. And this is actually called druzy quartz, which doesn't come this way. They actually have to apply a titanium coating to it to make those pretty colors. So that one's been altered. We can go for days. This is how a garnet looks. That's a garnet rough. And then this, they used to tell me, and I'd sell them, these are meteors. And they're highly magnetic. And now when I look at it, they come out of Russia. It's probably just metal slag off of some machinery thing. And you throw it in a vats of water and you get these little balls and they sell them at Tucson gem shows and stuff. Like there's another stone I was looking for mine. There's a stone. I'll bring it up. Let me bring it up so you can see it. This one is called mole.
Just like this little thing of meteorites keeps the space lie going, though. You see what I'm saying? It's every day. It's like, oh, look, meteorites, they're worth thousands of dollars. They're so rare, you know? It just continues the space lie.
Right? And then, so here, there's this stone that, let's share my screen real quick. Clickety-click.
Here we go.
That's moldavite. And it's a really cool stone, and it's supposed to be one of the top chakra stones. I had a lady that picked it up one time and, oh, it burns my hand. I don't know.
I have one at home right here.
What's that?
I have one piece of moldavite.
Oh, there you go. Do you know where it came from?
Well, they say it's a piece of meteor, but
exactly, they say it's a piece of meteor. So that's what I'm saying. You want to go with science on crystals and stuff, go for it. But you also have to believe in these things. You have to believe you're on the ball for diamonds. You have to believe in meteorites for moldavite. Do you all know where gold came from? Does anyone in the chat know where gold came from? No. How about this? Because the whole gold rush, someone's mentioning. Perfect timing. Do you know where gold came from, according to science? It came from a meteorite.
Of course. All the gold in the world just came from a meteor.
Yeah. So they're saying the meteor, basically all the, clear evidence that the planet's accessible reserves of precious metals are the result of bombardment of meteorites 200 million years after the Earth was formed. So there you go. Gold came from outer space. Or you go with this, the first books of Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam was thrown out of the garden. It was extremely sad. And one of the things God did was give him things of comfort. Check this. I'll make it a little bit faster so you won't. Where is it?
Then came the word from God to Adam and said unto him, Know thou and understand concerning this Satan, that he seeks to deceive thee and thy seed after thee. And Adam wept before the Lord God, and begged and entreated him to give him something from the
Here we go. This is where we got gold.
Wherein to be comforted. And God looked upon Adam's thought, and sent the angel Michael as far as the sea that reaches unto India, to take from thence golden rods, and bring them to Adam. This did God in his wisdom, in order that these golden rods, being with Adam in the cave, should shine forth with light in the night around him, and put an end to his fear of the darkness.
Okay, so your choices are this. Oh, and by the way, it's interesting. You know what else happens after that? Michael brings them gold. Gabriel brings them incense. And Raphael brings them myrrh. Sound familiar?
Like the three kings.
Sound familiar? Yeah, because everything repeats. It's all cyclical, even within the Bible. And so he goes and gets gold. You know, the angel brings it from God. So here are your choices. There are no other options. Either gold came from meteorites in space, or it came from God. Because no one else is giving it. And if you have a third option, by all means, do a stream and show us how smart you are. I dare you. I don't get it. You know, we're arguing. It's a straw man thing, like I say. We're arguing over things that make no sense. It doesn't matter. And none of us have ever said that this gem will turn into that one, at least not that I've ever heard. And if someone's saying it, well, I've just shown them how that's not possible. This is actually supposedly fossilized tree sap. And if you heat this up properly, you can turn it back into liquid. And when the movie Jurassic Park came out, they were taking amber like this that has no bugs. They were heating it up. They were taking a mosquito and dropping it in there, because that's the one that they take and make the dinosaur swords from. And they would sell it for like 10 to almost 100 times, depending on the size. Some people would get big enough pieces they could put little bugs, or little animals like tiny lizards and things. And the stratosphere was going crazy on the price of amber back then. Huh. And so this is something that's not a crystal. So whoever's not sure of that, I hope I've explained it well enough, that they're two separate things. And the other thing that's separate, this is a crystal. And there was also some X factor that either destroyed things by heat or water, or both.
Or both. Yeah,
that's where I believe. So that's
and to make crystal, you need heat, pressure, and melting something.
Right.
Extreme temperatures. Yeah.
Yeah, because in our world, all you would need is God's wrath to create these diamonds and stuff. And I find it interesting. Here's another theory we can just kind of chew on. Gemstones are written about in the Bible constantly. God's throne has all kinds of gemstones. Aaron's breastplate, it has all kinds of gemstones. That's where we get the 12 tribes and we get the birthstones and all that. Okay. Doesn't talk about diamonds. So maybe they came after the fervent heat. Maybe, because when you look at it, God obviously doesn't put really any what do you call it, thought in diamonds, and yet the world that we live in exists, Satan's world, that's their number one go-to, right? Diamond. People get married, they slap on the diamond, and everything's about diamonds and diamonds and diamonds.
Yeah, being all iced up, all the wrappers and stuff, they all want the diamonds and stuff. Yeah.
Could theoretically that happened after Revelation and the fervent heat? The diamonds show up, because we don't start digging them out that we know of until the 1800s, after the Revelation event, right? And then we find diamonds. That's why God doesn't talk about them in the Bible. I mean, maybe if he does, it's very minute. And yeah, that's the way I see it. He doesn't have it up in his throne. He has all these other gemstones. Yeah. So maybe because they need fervent heat and pressure, that would happen in God's wrath. Because otherwise, I don't believe in the volcano, so they had to exist somehow, and maybe that's how they came to be. You want to hit me with a boom, baby?
Boom, baby.
You don't need a drop. It's you.
I am the drop.
Yeah, he is the drop.
I am the drop. Oh, thanks, Ben. You should rewind it and see how I actually have knowledge in this, which I think was hilarious. That we were being told that none of us know anything about it, and yet they get all their information from these little cards that tell you like what emerald's going to do to you and stuff, and metaphysical powers of them. Look, anything this can have. This is actually how opals, by the way, are found in these rock called ironstone, and this could have metaphysical powers. This could create healing things or stuff. I don't know, but guess how it happens? You're in God's world. It's through God. Your belief that this thing is healing you will heal you. If you take this away, if you take away this idol that you're idolizing, and you insert Christ, and you pray to God through Christ for healing, does the same thing. Yeah. And you don't need the little rock to idolize.
Right. Do they call that the placebo effect?
Yeah, and that's science. They can give people medicine and they heal, and they can give people sugar pills and tell them it's the medicine and they heal too. So it's science. I'm telling you, this is science. If you want to believe this crystal heals you, go for it. Because why? Your brain will create the placebo effect, and it will. I'm not saying there wasn't energy in certain things or whatever back then. I don't know what the properties of energy are in this. None of us do, because they don't work in the tech world that they had. I believe the world that they existed in wasn't in mud huts and stuff like they're trying to portray. It was in these monstrous buildings, these Babylonist, Tower of Babel kind of monster buildings that go on the one city Jonah walked in and went on for days. Yeah. For him to go from one end to another, just connected buildings.
Exactly, all interconnected.
So if that's the way that we were living in the days of Noah, there's no way God wanted us to live like that. We were supposed to be living like Adam and Eve in the garden. And then we became this monstrous thing. And I believe that's when he just did that wipeout. And the buildings that were there weren't mud huts, because there wouldn't be any remnant of them, right? But we have all these remnants that are underwater and stuff. So,
yeah, all these gemstones have a frequency emanating. But not only that, if you pass a current to different one, they have different effect because they act like a condensator. If you know what it is, it could inhibit some energy or make it stronger. Like a transistor, if you want. Mm-hmm. It acts like a transistor if a current passed through it. It has different effects.
And I noticed in the chat, I saw Juan. If people are watching that, don't agree with this, good. I hope they will learn, and maybe they will look into their own arguments, because they haven't. They're making fake ones for us, which I think I've just debunked, including the fact that we have no knowledge on crystals, when I guarantee you I have a vast amount, and it's not because I'm special. It's because that's what I studied.
Yeah. And
I got my degrees in it.
Did you see that they have a specific crystal name for specific towns and things? Because here, if you in Ottawa, there's only one kind of a quartz crystal. It's called what is it called again? Bytownet. But because it was called Bytown, and probably when something happened there, all this crystal that you can only find in my town, in Ottawa, it's called Bytownet. And I don't know, it's the only place you can find. So they have created, not created, but given the name of that specific crystal for this town. And maybe there's more other places like that.
No?
Yeah, maybe. I was sent this verse. I thought it was interesting because we don't know how long these buildings have been here. Were they part of the original creation? Why can't these mountains just be mountains that God created? But somebody sent me this, and this was kind of interesting. I thought that, maybe in some respects, a lot of this stuff could have been here, that was populated. It says here, and I have given you land for which ye did not labor, and cities which ye built not, and ye dwell in them. The vineyard,
the founded, right?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. This is like one of the only verses that I've ever seen that kind of corroborates what we're saying about a lot of this stuff too.
That they didn't build these cities.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And I just wanted to show you here. This is let me close this out real quick. This is up on Mount Cheeha, one of my explorations that I did with Jeremy up there. And you guys will see it when you come to the meetup, these parallel running lines on these underbellies of these rocks and stuff. These are mortar lines. These are crystallized mortar lines. They call this quartz crystal now. And these are everywhere up at Mount Cheeha. Absolutely everywhere. Oh, that's my cats. Hold on. I go this way. Again, here, this is another picture I took on the way up to the last picture you just saw. Crystallized mortar lines in the melt. Clear as day. They always run parallel to each other, just like mortar lines do. You can see it over here as well, running through here. This one was pretty cool. This is not Mount Cheeha. This is very interesting. This completely square structure here with all this black drippy stuff coming down it. I forget where this is located. Definitely not Mount Cheeha, though. It just happened to be in my pictures here. And that's the mortar lines again there. This is pulling back away a little bit. Again, this is on the underbelly of a big slab of an outcropping of rock. I just happened to come up on it and was able to see under it, and I was shocked at what I was seeing. Again, when you look at mortar lines, they run parallel to each other just like this, and they call this quartz crystal now. This is a building. I believe this is in India. I'm not sure. Shapum might know, but again, it reminds me of what they say.
Mingan, India.
India. Yeah, okay.
Well,
sedimentary layers. Anywhere else, they would say these are sedimentary layers, but this is clearly a building. The whole thing is the building from head to toe.
Yeah, and if you have a close-up picture, you can see that it's clearly all brick.
Yeah, you can see it along here down the bottom a little bit. You can make it out, but it's not the clearest picture, though. You probably have a better one than I do. I don't know what this is. This is on some doors somewhere. I thought interesting. The hand here is holding a Vajara with electricity coming out of it. That's very interesting. This is like heavenly tech right here, because you see Archangel Michael and Gabriel with these Vajaras in their hands.
I hope you're gonna make. And are you gonna talk about the other one?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. I'm gonna let you break the other one down. Go ahead.
Because with the top of the mast. They probably had like this St. Elmo's fire that is the same effect as the other one.
Absolutely, 100%. And I do think that these ships were using some type of technology. I don't think they had all this technology on land and then hopped in their rudimentary boats with their sails and hope they got to where they're going and, possibly communicate with any other ships that are in their vicinity. They had to have some kind of technology on these ships.
Some of them, because Columbus didn't, obviously, because he went to the wrong place. He was horrible at his job. He got lost. He found a place that he didn't know what it was, and it had been found 3 times before that.
He was the dumbest navigator ever.
Right. And he found a place that had people living in it that Amerigo Vespucci had already found, but before him, the Vikings found it. Before that, people were living there. How do you find a place someone's already there? It's like if I came to your house, Shapu, and said, "Oh, I found this." You're like, I live here.
You found it in my home?
I claim this for the country. No, this is my house. I live here. What are you doing? Take these blankets.
Yes, exactly.
Also, I was looking at the Quran and I was thinking about gold and stuff. And I know it says in the book of Adam and Eve. Also, I feel like gold, I think there was more gold coming here during the millennial reign of Christ, let's just say. I don't think the gold is indigenous to Earth in the manner that we have been told in the geological narrative. And here in the Quran, it says, description, the Quran seems to imply that iron was something sent down and not from this earth.
Well, there you go.
Not far into the 20th century. And I think sent down means sent down from heaven, not from outer space, guys.
Because if gold doesn't really, you can't find its existence other than outer space, well, then that would be God's throne or heaven or whatever.
Exactly.
There's no new gold. All the gold that is the same gold that was here.
Isn't that wild, Shapu? That's something most people don't know. All the gold that's here right now, it's the same gold that's always been here. You can never get rid of it. It always is around. You can take gold and you can make it into, say, a ring. And then you can take that ring, and if you polish it, then gold flecks are going to come off on the polishing wheel and on the pan below you. And then when you put it into a cleaner to clean it, little minute gold amounts are going to fall into that. And what you can do then is you can take all those shavings. You can even take and get rid of, evaporate the water liquid in the cleaning solution, and you'll end up with all the gold back, and you can melt it down and you can use it. It never goes away.
Absolutely. And all the gold that you find is melted. It's already in a melted form. Like it has been melted. Like when you find gold, alluvial gold, or if you're digging down surface gold, it always seems to be melted. It has a melted look to it already, which that's why they explain it away, that it came from a really hot place and worked its way up. That's why it looks melted. But it's melted from the X Factor event, I feel.
Correct. Because if it was on all the tops of the tech that we're talking about and the tops of buildings and then they melted, well, that would become a gold vein that we dig out.
And especially if the interiors of these buildings had gold statues, gold technology within the buildings itself. That's why you got to mine into the building to find a gold vein, which is why I have a theory that these people who piggybacked this last X Factor event, say the Romanovs and all them who came out on the other side on top to rule over us, knew what all these buildings were and where they were. They have all the original maps. They have all the original schematics and where the locations were. So they know that this building here that we're looking at had a massive amount of gold in it, but now it's all melted down blob. Well, they're going to go digging into it to get that gold out.
Yeah. And I think that's been happening throughout time, because what was the Ottoman Empire? These people that just show up and suddenly owned everything and stuff. Like, it's weird.
So here we have what looks to be some type of construction site, but this building does not look new. It looks quite old, if you ask me. I think this construction stuff that they got going on here is maybe to refurbish, or maybe they just got done climbing up there and taking the gold off these domes and stuff. I don't know, but I had this in my folder of pictures. I don't even know where it is exactly, but it does show some construction stuff like wooden stuff here, but nothing.
Can I ask you something? Where was this? Because look at the street. The street is laid with brick, and there's so many of these that are just mud roads.
Yeah.
These guys sat and put all these thousands of bricks.
That may be what they're doing there. They may have just put in this brick road here. I don't know, but they definitely didn't build that building back there.
No.
Yeah. The road does look kind of new. But see, it's a nice flat road. It's not a cobblestone road.
No.
I would love to take my horse and carriage down that brick road.
Right?
That's good.
Cobblestone roads, their horses will break their feet on. It's weird.
Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah.
No bueno. Look at that.
I just had this for a couple of years now, tucked away. You know, I don't know what's going on here. It looks like a hell of a lot of tech, copper for sure. It also reminds me of what we see in Turkey, those melted down houses in Turkey, the conical shaped ones. Kind of reminds me of that. Again, the black roofing, if this was the meltdown, that would be black runny stuff running down it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is Russia, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe it's Russia. And look at this mess here, guys. Just look at this mess.
So they didn't bother putting a road, but they built these giant buildings for what?
I don't know, but they got some leftovers sitting around here wondering what the hell they're going to do with all this stuff.
But I mean, the narrative is if it didn't get flooded or melted, then what? They just decided to build these in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean, what could have possibly brought all this stuff in here and mucked everything up?
Yeah. Where's the construction sites? Where are the workhorses? Where are the tiny huts that people live in, apparently? What's going on? Why are they building these?
No, I think this place is like in Uzbekistan or something like that.
Oh, after it's been destroyed by war, probably?
Yeah, but if you go there and look at there, everywhere there's a building on the ground, you know.
But that's partly, too, why they do those wars, like you said, in those areas that match up with diamond things and stuff, so they can destroy the history narrative so you can't see it.
Yeah.
God left it so we would see it and remember that God's wrath is real, and we're ignoring it again, and guess what happens when you ignore it? So
absolutely. You're doomed to repeat it.
Right? I don't want to. The heathens can do that. I want to find God and get out of here.
I'm not sure what's going on here, but this looks like some kind of tech. I mean, I have no idea what this is.
I think Doctor Who uses this, doesn't he?
I didn't even know I had this picture.
You sound like Martin Litke. Where did that come from?
Never seen it.
Never seen this before.
I don't know what's happening in this room. All right, let's see what this is. What's going on here? So you're just going to build your building right up in all this stuff here, right? Yeah, that looks good.
That's
I know it looks like Pompeii.
Yeah.
The road. Look at the road. It's Pompeii for sure. Pompeii. So this is was supposedly when they're excavating Pompeii here.
Herculaneum.
Herculaneum?
Yeah, no, could be both, you know.
Yeah. Right. Again, here you could see, now they'll tell you they carved this, right? Where's their pickaxe marks, right? So here you go. You see all these heat striations on the side here? This is where they're going to tell you they carved it. But then look at the floor. Where's all the pickaxe for the floor?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. The floor was molten. That's why it's all bumpy and wavy like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, I just said, who's carving melted caves?
I swear, everyone back, they used to have that show Drunk History. It's like Drunk Architect. They should do one because everything back in those days, they used drunk architects, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, like this one.
Look at
that. It's a house with a garage and everything. Could you see pulling up here? Hey, honey, I'm home. It's a
nothing to see there, Jen. Nothing to see there.
Nothing to see here, right? Yeah, they carved it. The same drunk people who did Petra, they brought those guys over, gave them some wine, some pickaxes, and said, go to town. Show me what you can do. Oh, my goodness. Or it's a giant crystal. What's this? A buried Toyota. There's some cobblestones.
There's a brick.
I don't know why I have this picture, but I have it.
That's pretty funny. What's that?
More melted stuff here. This is a whole building that's been melted. You're seeing the interior space here. The floor is melted away. There's holes in the floor. The walls are all melted. They didn't carve this thing janky like this, guys. They just didn't do it. That, in my opinion, I just can't see it happening. Who's carving these melted steps here? You tell me you had that much foot traffic through this doorway that it fucked up the steps? Look at all this heat striations all over this thing. It's melted. This is not pickaxe marks. Okay? Just saying. Look at it. Heat. Waves of heat running up this thing. Heat striations. Oh, sorry. I skipped one here. There's a little,
there she is.
Little melted town right here. Oh, what's going on there? But it's melted for sure. What was this called, Shapu? Is it called like Eagle's Castle or
Eagle? Yeah, Eagle.
Okay, yeah. They say they carved this thing too, as well. You can see where it crushed down. The weight of all of this crushed down on all this melt down here, and it only left this little opening. This is your heat and pressure. Could you imagine the pressure of this weight up here pushing down on all this melt down here?
Steffi just happened to arrive in the chat.
What's up, Steph?
But does she feel tardy? That's the question.
What?
I don't feel tardy.
You stole that. Yeah, I love it.
So good. That was good.
A black squirrel. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know. Wow, surprise.
Weird.
Okay.
What? You don't have black squirrel?
Well, no, I just got used to it. Out here, we're all brown. I know we're supposed to be looking at the building, but you were showing the squirrel. What's going on? Look at the building now. Oh, wait.
Now, I don't know what this building is or how new or old it is, but it's creepy as fuck. It's got all kinds of crazy shit going on here.
What is that?
Yeah, it's.
Now think about that. Whatever date this was supposed to be carved out, how much extra time and effort did it take not only to build it monstrously high for no apparent reason whatsoever?
Look how little the people are.
But to put all those gargoyles and all that weird shit on there and stuff, like, where's Dad? Oh, he's still working on the post office or the bank or what do they always call them? Government buildings, post offices, churches, or banks.
Yeah.
He's been working on it for 20 years, but we live in a mud hut.
That's right. Oh, well, who's going to live in this new building he's built? Nobody.
No one. No, it's for record
keeping. There? What are you, crazy?
Yeah, look at that one. The horses swim, I guess, to get on that one.
Hi, kitty. Let me see here. Let's take a look at this ship. Oh, this ship just kind of goes right to the building here. Interesting. I don't know where I got this picture. It's an old one. I'm just kind of flipping through some stuff here. Oh, what? Nothing to see here. Jeez.
Are you kidding me? Saw in Seattle with us, right?
Right? How many floors down does it go? I don't know, 5 or 6. We never get down there. We don't know.
Yeah. They don't even know, and they've never been down there. It's probably locked off to them.
Door right here. They just got to shave away the rest of this stuff, and the rest of the building all up here. Look, you can even see here where the doorway was. See? The mud or whatever this dirt is came all the way up to this white line because here was a doorway right here. And now it's weird. It's crazy. Oh, this is a step well. I think this is in India. It's pretty crazy looking.
Yeah, these things are just crazy. It's just crazy.
I mean, who's building this shit with horses and buggies and stuff and oxen? Yeah. I mean, are you kidding me? This is precision work here. Saying. Oh, that's pretty cool looking. Some pretty cool looking crazy doors and stuff. That just the overly ornate state of everything. Like they just have all
technology that we don't understand still. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look at this place.
And the narrative they're going to tell you on that is they had plenty of material and time. Otherwise, why would you build
better to do?
And people and workers and it's just
why can't you build roads and towns for the people and help them out? No, we're going to spend every resource we have building this Lego thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's that window again, Jen, over in the top right. You know those circles? Down a bit. Down. A little over to the left. It sounds like scratching the... right about there above. A little better, a little higher, a little higher.
Right here.
Yeah.
There it is.
An hour.
I finally scratched your itch.
They have those everywhere, in different stained glass and things and all these buildings.
Yeah, that cymatic pattern has a frequency that seems to be useful to the building itself.
Correct. In a day and time that we don't understand.
Guys, this is all
like I showed in a couple shows ago. Like there's the same thing that you could put on your guitar. The in your guitar, you can put the same kind of rosary to make the sound
wow,
different.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that makes sense. Look at that.
This whole thing's made of brick.
Look at the top. I don't know where we are, but do you see that star?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they try to tell you that's the Star of David and it's the symbol for Israel and Jews. It's not. It's the Star of Remphan that God talks about in the Bible that's going to be used by people that are fake and say there's something else. Look it up. Star of Remphan, which goes to who? God of Moloch, baby killer, Satan, whatever. You insert what you want. But that's never been the Star of David.
This place, I think it's was built for like Columbus or something, they say. It's like Columbus Castle. So
this is tech all day long right here for sure. And then it's got 1, 2, 3, and probably a fourth one on the back side here, just like we see on the cathedrals with the 4 peaks and then the one in the center.
And if you were to bring up the what do you call it, the World's Fairs, all that stuff would be lit up unexplainably, right?
Yeah.
With no light bulbs.
This guy here is kayaking through a melted building. I snapped this off of one of the videos that I can't play on my channel anymore because people get butt hurt if I show their stuff and mention.
Yeah, we did that ourselves. That's the other thing. We were told that we only look at pictures. We've been boots on the ground and looked it up, videoed it, and brought back samples.
That's right.
Boom, baby.
Boom, baby. That's not a very good picture. I don't even know what I'm doing with that. Okay, yeah, this is one of my favorites. It explains the DJED columns and the tech that we see on these buildings. These DJED pillars are just like the Tesla coil. And we see pillars and columns all throughout the Greco-Roman era that they say this architecture is from, all through Egypt, everywhere you go in the United States, every Capitol buildings, columns. They're DJED columns, guys. These were self-sustaining, self-illuminating, free energy buildings, components on the grid system, if you will.
Hey, Jen?
Yes.
To go along with this, I'm reading Chris in the chat said that they read king and queen's crowns were built like transceivers to communicate with God or demons. Mm-hmm. And they look similar to the top of the cathedrals. And they're right, because a lot of crowns have that look to them. So.
Yeah, I have that.
It's for gods or demons, but definitely to communicate with something.
Somebody on another realm, right. I very much glad God wanted you to put a hat on because he actually says not to cover your head if you're a man. He says short hair is better. He said long hair is bad, but whatever. On women, he likes the long hair, and many wanted the short hair. Supposedly.
Yes, I just cut my hair, so I'm good now.
There you go.
Yes, they wear headdresses that look similar to this kind of tech. I have it here on this Jacob's ladder, but they have headdresses with the same tech on top of it. I have it down here somewhere. The headdresses are really cool looking. I think it's on.
But it all have to do with the crown, the staff, and the ball that they all have. You know, they all have it.
Here it is, right here. Here they are. Here's the headdresses. See, look. There he is with the tech on his head.
Nice.
Boom, baby.
What did it say down there? It has a description. Sacred jewel, dragon wheel, water flame, sacred rings, flower bowl, reverse bowl, dew.
Yeah, this is their names for it, but this is actually the technology, just like columns, and then these lines. This is like a spine, the spine of Osiris. Yeah. And this stacks plasma energy right here. It brings it down right.
7 chakras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If everything's connected, I mean, if it's all electronic and we're all same atoms and stuff, whatever, it makes sense that we work the same as the electronics and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that the buildings are built on a grid. I get all of that. It doesn't mean it's all fake and computer simulation and whatever. It just means that this universe that we live in, whatever you want to call it, God's place that we live in, it all works off of the same thing, right? Yes. Electricity, ether, whatever. That's the whole idea behind them trying to prove or get Einstein in there, was to try to disprove ether.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what we all connect into.
That's what I was saying earlier. You cannot create anything new. You have to go by the basis of this place. You know, they have like rules here that you need to follow. And if you know all of this, nothing else. It's all depend on those things, you know.
That's right.
You have to learn all of this before you can say anything. It's
yeah,
and people don't. So.
And all we can do is look at these and try to imagine how they operated, but it's all been stopped and shut down and destroyed and stuff. So all we can do is just speculate. We'll maybe never be able to prove our theories, but I don't know, Occam's razor, I like our ideas way better than thinking that diamonds and gold came from meteors from outer space.
Yeah.
And that they shoot up from the middle of the Earth's core. I don't know how you buy into that anymore. If see the other things that we see, how you cannot see these things are melted and these are tech with gold on top of them. So if that stuff melted down, guess what? That becomes a gold vein inside this melted building, and we dig it out. And people like, we can't, nothing that hot. You don't know God's wrath, and you pray to God. You never know his wrath. Are you kidding me? That's what the Bible was for.
That's the fear of God right there.
Right. That's the beginning of knowledge, they say. Wisdom is that. Because if I can look at these buildings or these pictures or go myself and see God's wrath, well, that's going to make me straighten out because I realize he exists and I'll talk to him and make a relationship.
And then you have wisdom, yes.
Right. And if I ignore it, well, guess what? You're going to have to get it yourself because you didn't read the book and realize it had happened before. Yeah. That's the way I think.
Yeah.
So here we have a Chinese pagoda, which is not a temple. It is not a high-rise apartment building from ancient times. And over here we have a Tesla tower in Russia with the donut on top. Same. These two things are exactly the same, except they tell us this is a temple where you go in and you worship your God.
Right.
Which is nothing but a lie.
Steve Finneran, this is for you.
I don't feel turdy.
Hey, Steve, you're late.
You're going to have to rewind. It was a good beginning.
Absolutely. I got a little echo. I don't know. Maybe it went away.
Yeah,
Again, ancient pagodas here. This is just more tech on the grid system. China is chock full of these old pagodas. Some of them even have trees growing out the sides of them. You can tell they've been X-factored and all that. Again, here, if you have a Tesla tower here and a Tesla tower here, and here they're saying these are 10 stories high, which could possibly be what we see like obelisks or columns with a statue on top. The tech, it's always the same. As long as the tech's inside, they got the wheels and everything.
It's funny that they say 10 stories high because this is the height of the water pressure. If you build like a water tower up 10 stories, like 10 meters, it doesn't work anymore. It's always the same. So
really,
yeah.
Well, there you go. See, we're always learning here.
And this house between these two Tesla towers, it will function. The lights will function. The refrigerator will work. Everything will be free energy, no wires, wireless, everything. Again, here we have a pagoda in Asia or China. I'm sorry, I forget exact location. Still retaining its gold antiquitech on top. And here we have a Tesla tower in Russia, an old tower. Same thing. Again, these things are what you see in the Chinese or maybe Thailand, like cemeteries. These are their monuments and memorials. Same thing you see in our graveyard. You'll see an obelisk with a plaque on it or some kind of structure similar to this. This reminds me of a mercury arc valve. They're about 12 to 15 feet tall. And this brick is conductive. It stores energy. This is why these things are made of brick. These are all tech right here. And you just put a little plaque on the side of it, and you can say it's to Wilson or Smith or whatever. Go in any graveyard cemetery, you're going to see stuff looks just like this.
Wilson. I hear that every time. Sorry.
So you see here, everything was covered in gold. Gold does not corrode. It is very useful to conduct electricity. It's not corrosive. So it would be the ideal thing to have covering your stuff, your technology. All this stuff is tech. These are not temples. They're tech.
And think about it. Again, if you go with our theory, at least what I think is ours, is mine, if that came as a gift from God, and it had all of these powers that it gave heat and light to Adam and Eve back then. So obviously it has the properties you would need for those things, heat and light. So they're going to go after this substance because they know it's something from God. You know, the other things they're still looking for, and every time we go to war, we supposedly find some of them, but no one actually knows where Adam's coat or clothes went to. But they apparently had some crazy powers, supposedly, because you can trace the lineage. It gets onto the ark, and then it gets stolen by some I think Ham, one of Noah's bad kids or whatever, and then it ends up going to I think Nimrod ends with it, and then Esau has it, but then it disappears, and they don't know where it is. It gets hidden.
So Adam had clothes, so you're saying he had more than a fig leaf, right?
Yeah, what happens is this. So we get put in the Garden of Eden, and everything is done for us. There's nothing. You don't even have to eat or drink or anything. You just exist. Light shines out of you. There's no day, there's night. It's just peaceful and wonderfulness. And then, oh yeah, go ahead. That's the thing. We don't take responsibility for any of our actions anymore. It probably was her. No, she did do it. Okay. Okay, so you go back to where you got Adam and Eve in there in the garden, everything's cool. Well, Satan had already fallen by then, right? Because he falls first. So then he goes and he's pissed off because he's already lost. We can go into that story some other day. But his judgment's already been served. Like ours is coming. His gets done immediately. And there's no take backs. And so what God says, what Satan decides to do then is, I'm going to try to mess with your kids and destroy them so you won't have them. And so that's what he starts doing, trying to mess with Adam and Eve. And so he appears as some figure. I believe it's some kind of dragonish thing because it wasn't a snake. Because what happens is this: the serpent, of course, deceives. It says the serpent deceives the woman, and then she deceives the man. And so, because God was there, and he told Adam not to eat from this tree of good, the knowledge of good and evil. It's a knowledge of everything. And God has to know all these things because everything comes from him. But he didn't need us to have that in our lives. That's the life he wanted us to exist in, only the good side. But of course, so Eve takes in then whatever. So then God shows up. It's actually hilarious when you read it because God's like, he knows what's going on, of course, but he wants to hear what they have to say. And he's like, Adam, the one thing I told you not to do, and Eve wasn't there. It was just Adam there. The one thing I told you not to do, you did it. And what does he go? Eve made me do it. So then he goes, because it's not my responsibility, right? No one takes responsibilities, right? Everyone gets a trophy. No one takes responsibility. So he goes to Eve and he's like, what the heck? She's like, well, technically I wasn't there when you told Adam. I know he said not to, but you know what? The snake deceived me. It was his fault. I didn't do it. He told me we wouldn't die, even though you said he would. You're muted. Sorry. And then, so then, of course, what does God do? That's when he says you're going to walk on your belly. So he cuts off his arms, legs, wings, whatever the heck he was having. And now he's crawling on his belly. And then he continues to try to deceive Adam and Eve. And each time he does more things to him to the point where now he doesn't even talk. He can just hiss. God even takes away his ability to speak. He gets that. That's the different punishments he goes through. But he still has the ability to change into whatever he wants. So he's always presenting himself as either other humans, angels, whatever. I mean, in the Transformers, they turn into machines. You guys don't believe that if they have this capability of transforming into, say, looking like humans, they can't, one of those ships flying by as an airplane that's really loud, and you go on your little radar app and it doesn't appear. It's either military and it's blocked, or it ain't a plane. I don't know, but that's a whole other conversation we can have. The Transformer movies, they do it, right? Optimus Prime, he's a freaking semi-truck, so whatever. I'm not making these stories up. They are. And so where were we? I forget. So Adam and Eve. So, right. And so, we get thrown out of the garden because of this, because we now have this knowledge. And the first thing that happens is they go, holy shit, we're naked. And, and so that's when they try to cover themselves in the leaves and whatever. That's where that symbolism, I guess, comes from. And then, of course, God knows what went down, but he wants to hear what they have to say. And he's like, hey, where are you? Because they were hiding, like you can hide from God. And they're like, well, we're ashamed. And he's like, why are you ashamed? He's like, because we're naked. He's like, well, who told you we're naked? And that's when he tells them, well, I ate it because she made me. And she says, I ate it because the snake made me. And God's just like, whatever. You guys screwed up. So here's what I'm going to do. You can't live here anymore. I don't know why. There's something about the makeup of where we're supposed to be and where we are. It's like, to me, magnets. You can put two ends together and they touch. You turn it around and it doesn't even come close. Yeah. And so whatever it is that we have in us now, it doesn't work with the electronics of where we're supposed to be. These are just my theories. And so he tells Adam, because Adam's like, because he throws him out and they end up in a cave. So imagine you go from a place that we can't even comprehend how amazing it was. Because when he writes about it, it doesn't even, like, he can't even describe it. And that's how sad he is. He tries to kill himself and stuff, according to these stories, because he's that sad, depressed. And so he gets kicked out, and God has angels make them garments. So that's the very first gift from God to us. And it goes to our ancestors, Adam. Because the way I look at it is this. When I started this process, I was born and raised Jewish, and I wasn't even practicing. So I wasn't religious at all. I just was spiritual, and God was more a moral idea. Then when I started reading it, the lineage goes like this. Adam and Eve start. God gives him a promise. He says, you are perfect. You've fallen, but don't worry. In 5,500 years, I will bring you back to the garden. You have to go through this process in order to cleanse yourself in a way to get back.
Okay.
And so real quick, I was just going to say, so he says that okay, go ahead. So the original promise that he'll be fruitful and multiply goes to Adam. From Adam, you continue until Noah, because he's the only one that was righteous in that time. And so he's a descendant of Adam, Noah. Then from Noah, you can get to Abraham, and there's another split. The Muslims follow the other lineage from his concubine, and the Christians, Jews, whatever, follow the lineage that goes through what? Isaac, Jacob, David, Jesus. So what I've told my mom is that I actually didn't change. I'm still believing what I believed when I was Jewish, because the Torah is the Old Testament, and the lineage continues right through to Jesus. So then when I realized that Jesus was real, because everyone talks about him, even the Quran, they all fight about him, his name and everything. It's the only person in history that is this big of a deal, more popular than John Lennon. It's a reverse thing there. But anyways, that's when I realized I haven't changed, see? So there is no religions. There's just one child of God, and it started with Adam. And if you figure out who you are through Jesus, then you're a child of God. There's no Christians and Jews and whatever. It's all just names to split us separate. Religion is the dogma. Shake that off and look into the Bible, because the scriptures are real. It's a living word in there. So go ahead.
Okay, my big question is Adam and Eve still alive?
Well, at some point, they both die. What's interesting is I found where it's referenced that Adam dies, but they don't talk about Eve, because it's usually the lineage and they talk about the men. Sorry, but they're both dead. But what does that mean? Because there's the first death and then there's the second death. And so if they've died, then there's a place called, well, I call it Sheol. What is it? Sheol, I think is what you call it. And that's an area beneath the earth, because God says it exists. There's people that get mad at that because it's like, there can't be hollow. Well, there's stuff in there. The buildings go down 20 floors for no reason. So deep below the earth, probably near where diamonds are formed. We should ask them if they found shale while they're doing the experiment. And there's an area actually where people are good people, righteous people are actually in, because there's an angel guardian and stuff.
Right.
So I can't say where they are, but there is a thing that happens when Jesus comes back the first time. All of the dead rise because they all get judged at the same time. And then what happens? There's a 1,000-year reign of Christ. So that nullifies basically everybody in the beginning times as to whether they're hanging out with Christ waiting for us or they're hanging out with the other side waiting for us. And then it talks about the short season. There's got to be people there to be deceived. So I don't know why everyone's all hung up that we're in the beginning of Revelation. What if we're at the end? Because see, that's to me even more potentially traumatizing or scary. Because if you think you're at Revelation, that means you got one more shot at it before the short season ends. But what if we're at the short season and all of these melted shows and whatever are showing you examples and you're ignoring God's wrath because you think like a Buddhist or whatever that we get recycled and you're going to have another shot through it? Go for it, man. I think that's great. That's not where I'm putting my hat, because if you're wrong, which I believe you are, you're done. There is no next page. Like after Revelation happens, it's the short season happens. There's no more pages in that book.
That's right. It's over.
So go ahead, make up whatever story you want at that point. Everyone else does. You want to make up some story that's not the Bible, but you don't live on a ball, and gold exists, but it didn't come from space or God, and diamonds don't come from the molten core of volcanoes. They exist somehow without God. I don't even understand that. I'd love doing an entire stream on that theory. That's great. Because otherwise you got two options, science or God. And I'm shooting with God because science does not tell you how they're going to save you. In fact, they're the ones trying to inject all that stuff to you.
Science. Yeah, they're gonna save you by integrating technology into you. So if you live to 2050, you're probably not going to die at all.
Right.
We didn't want to stay here on this hell on earth, of course.
Right. And you'll be saved by science, your crypto, and then everyone can look like Cameron Diaz, I guess. So there you go.
Oh my God! Don't get me started.
The trifecta. No, thank you. Like 50-minute cities I talked about. That's where they want to cram everyone. So you don't drive anywhere or go anywhere. And then they'll just do robots so you can just stay in your house like Idiocracy or Wall-E or any of these movies they show us. You don't even have to leave your chair. That's where they want to take you. That's science. No thanks. I'll live in God's country. That's where he hangs out. He doesn't hang out on a ball with watching volcanoes spit out diamonds. He doesn't hang out on a ball watching gold fly from a meteor. No, that's not where I want to hang. I want to hang out with God. So I hope that puts where I sit. I don't care about melt. Sorry, Jen. I don't care about mud flood. Sorry, Ray. I see God's judgment.
Right.
You can tell me it was melted. I'll say, okay, sounds good to me. You can tell me it was done by floods. I'll say, sounds good to me. You can tell me it happened in the original flood. You can tell me it happened in Revelation. You can tell me it happened both times. That's what I see. You can tell me all the times it happened in the Bible. Wherever you want to believe, I'll agree. Because at the end of the day, it only means one thing. God's wrath is real. Boom, baby.
Boom, baby. And really, that's the point of it all. And we see evidence for it everywhere. Meltology is rewriting his story completely. And, when you get to flat earth, you think, okay, well, I got to rethink a lot of stuff here. But a lot of people aren't taking the next steps in the flat earth community and explaining or trying to get to the bottom of how this system works. All the stuff based on geology, millions of years, sedimentary layers, tectonic plates, molten lava, and all this stuff is irrelevant because we're not on a ball. Nobody's even mentioned volcanoes on any of these hit piece shows and stuff that they do. They can't explain volcanoes. They can't explain why I find statue heads inside Vesuvius and bricks spitting out of volcanoes everywhere and stuff like that. The Quran also talks about God's destruction. It's not just the Bible. And we are going to take a quick break, guys, if that's okay with you. We're at the 2-hour mark. When we come back, Shapu's going to get into a bunch of stuff. But for the break, I'm going to play God's destruction from the Quran. So we'll be back in about 4 minutes, guys.
Do they not find any guidance when they see how many cities that God destroyed? So they are now fallen into ruin, and they walk among their dwellings. So travel through the land and observe how the end was for the criminals. they were not availed at all by their gods when the command of God came. So have they not traveled through the land and seen how the end was for those before them? God destroyed everything over them, and there is something comparable for the disbelievers. So travel through the land and observe how the end was for the criminals. For God has already destroyed what surrounds you of cities, and God has explained the signs so that perhaps they might return from disbelief. For God destroyed Ad and Thamud, and it has become clear to you from their ruined dwellings. And Satan had made their deeds pleasing to them and averted them from the right path, and they were endowed with perception. And God destroyed Korah and Pharaoh and Haman. And Moses had already come to them with clear evidences, and they were arrogant in the land, but they were not outrunners of God's punishment. For how many gardens and springs did they leave behind, and also crops, and noble sites of pyramids and comforts, wherein they were amused. Then do they not find any guidance when they see how many generations God destroyed before them, as they walk among their dwellings? Indeed, there are signs in that for those of intelligence. For Sodom is situated on an established road. Indeed, there is a sign in that for the believers. For you pass by them at dawn and at night. Then will you not use reason? And the companions of the thicket were also wrongdoers. So God took retribution from them, and both ruins are on a clear highway. So how many cities did God destroy while they were committing wrong, so they are now fallen into ruin, and how many abandoned wells and how many lofty palaces? So have they not traveled through the earth and have hearts by which to reason, and ears by which to hear? For it is not the eyes that are blinded, but it is the hearts that are blind, which are within the chests. For you lived among the dwellings of those who wronged themselves, and it had become clear to you how God dealt with them. And God set forth many examples for you. So travel through the land and observe how the end was for those before. Most of them were polytheists. And God did not wrong them, but they wronged themselves. And they were not availed at all by their gods which they invoked other than God when the command of your Lord came. And they did not increase them in anything other than ruin. And thus is the seizure of your Lord when he seizes the cities while they are committing wrong. His seizure is indeed painful and severe. Indeed, there is a sign in that for those who fear the punishment of the hereafter. That is a day for which the people will be collected, and that is a day which will be witnessed.
Boom, baby. All right, we're back. What we got here? What do I got? What do we have here?
You're fired.
I don't think anybody else is back yet. Okay, so yeah, there's that. And excuse me, I'm smoking a joint. All right, guys. So Shapu has a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna play this real quick.
What we found is melted glass spherules. So this is our first clue that some high temperature event had happened. What we found is melted glass spherules. So this is our first clue that some high temperature event had happened.
Temperature sufficient to melt Earth, basically. Is that what you're saying? Hot enough to melt a car into a molten puddle of metal in the parking lot. Right.
Boom, baby. All right, Shapu, it's all you.
You're already done with your. Do you want to like talk about the how did you where we live in America is the same as the Middle East and
yes, absolutely. Because we've been hearing a lot about Palestine, Ohio, and this train wreck, and we hear about all these different sites in the Grand Canyon that Egyptian names. You have Memphis, Tennessee. You have England, New England, and all these names that are mirroring the side of the pond here. And I think it's very interesting. I actually feel like it could probably fold over and lay right over everything and match right up, but I haven't gotten to do that yet.
All right, but we can keep it for another show if you have to other stuff, because I found like a nice site where he shows places like in Afghanistan, and it's the same place as in Missouri.
Oh, let's do it. I'd love to look at that. That would be great.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody would enjoy that. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to see it. Put a 2 in the chat if you want us to cover something else. There you go.
Well, I can. Look, I will.
What's up, Shapu?
John said hi.
Hey, John. I don't see anything right now.
All right, so what's this site we're on here?
So this is, it's called...
And India ruled the world. Interesting.
No, that's not part of it, This is ancient Afghanistan was in Missouri. He makes like a lot of comparison of cities, name, and places and things in the Quran, I guess. Like sentences, and he shows that because there's a video with it, but this is just text. And he shows that yeah, there are many places, like he goes into this Hindu Kush mountains of America, and
interesting.
Yeah, this is not what I want to show, but it's part of the text. And he says here, the Arkansas River and the Mississippi River, it's the Nile River, it's the same thing.
Which river? The Mississippi?
Yeah, Mississippi and the Nile.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the Mississippi is identical to the Nile. It's just reversed and flipped. If you look at where it is on the United States and where it is in Egypt. Yeah. It's mirrored, literally.
Yeah, and he makes a lot of nice comparison with Wichita Mountains in the Arkansas Valley, the Indus Valley from the Hindu, and he's gonna compare like a lot of places, because I just want to show this text, because I will play like the part of his video that talks about.
Okay, can we drop this link in the chat as well?
Yes.
Great. So everybody can look at this at your own leisure.
Just gonna talk about this Quivira Pass and Kabul in Missouri and Kabul in Afghanistan. They're the same thing, and it's gonna.
And remember, we found Montana and Utah over there by Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes.
On the map.
Yeah. So I'll just share this link if anybody want to go read it. And oh shit, I lost my video. Where is it? where does it go?
Okay, take your time.
I had it right here. Yeah, right.
All right, good.
All right. So this, you can see that this video is 3 hours 20 minutes. I'll just show a small part of it. I didn't even watch it all. But this part is like 1 year old, this video. All right.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, this is not the part. Just a little bit further.
I'm not sure.
Do you have the volume up on this thing? Because I can't hear anything at all. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Oh, really? Okay, so I'll just share with. I think I didn't share with sound.
Yeah, let's do it with sound. I wasn't sure what you were doing. If you were just looking for the part, or I got.
I thought he was getting ready to read it with his outrageous accent.
And by the way, you are not from France. You're French, but you live in Canada. You're from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people got that a little confused. I'm just saying.
No, I just think it's funny that like everything that I was told is none of it's true. The fact that he's not even from France, and that was another thing.
People can't get their information right. You need to change the fucking channel, okay?
Like, if you're gonna insult someone, at least get it straight first. That's funny.
Right?
And why is that an insult if you're from France? What's wrong with that? I know some people from France. There's bad people, good people anywhere, according to Trump.
I love French.
Yeah. But no, I'm not from France. I'm a French Canadian, and we're totally different. But
they're jealous of your accent, man. I'm telling you. If I had that accent, I would have had way more action going through high school.
Yeah, but here everybody's got the same accent, so there's I had to be like in the US or something.
yeah, that's the gig. You got to come out. That's why all those English actors make it big, and the Australian ones. That's the gig.
Yeah.
That's right. That's very true.
That's very true. Yeah.
All right, so I'll just.
All right, take two.
Do it.
Descends from the son of King David, or like they just said, is King David
the son of
himself.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yes.
There's no echo or anything.
Go ahead. You're good.
All right.
David, king of the so-called Hindus, right?
So I'll just try to find it. I think it's right now. Yeah. I guess.
This guy sounds like Barry White.
Who? Barry White?
The Hindu.
He does.
The Hindu.
Let's go, Barry.
The Hindu Kush. The
Cabal. Show like the Kabul.
Look at that. The Cabal.
Cabal, Pashto.
Yeah.
Which used to be Afghan, right? Is the capital and largest city of Afghanistan. Hindu Kush, right? David, king of the Hindus, called Prester John. Hindu Kush, right? King of the Hindus. Come.
I dig this guy's voice.
I like Kush.
Kabul is the capital of Afghanistan, but what is Kabul?
I just wanted to break into a song now, Jen. You got me thinking. He's gonna like.
What is Kabul?
The music's gonna start.
Like, hey, baby.
Get it together, baby. You want to learn about Kabul?
Kabul, Missouri.
Oh, baby.
Are we talking Afghanistan? The capital of Afghanistan?
Yeah. But
I said, man, let there be a Kabul in America, and it's a body bag, and we out of here, baby.
It's really bad.
Kabul, and yes, they say Kabul, Kabul.
Yeah, and
back to the Afghanistan flow. They say don't confuse it though. Why would they even have to tell us that? Unless they.
Yeah, right. It's more the misdirection stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
Why tell us that? Things are named, names sound the same all the time. Like they never. Don't confuse that with.
Hey, can you pause it for a second?
In Texas.
Like I don't know if this is Mandela, whatever you call it, but I never knew. There's all these countries names within America, like that. What did Rama was at like East Palestine, Ohio? You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
Palestine, Ohio. My
right?
husband's never even heard of it, and he's from Canton, Ohio.
There you go, right? And then if you watch enough Russian vids where he shows you all the different horses they show you, Biden will wear the red one and the white one and the green pale one, and then of course they shot down one of these numerous alien invasion machinery things over what? Dead Horse, Alaska. So I thought that was interesting. Because that's the best name they could come up for. Hey, what do we call this place? I don't know. There's a dead horse over there. Sounds good. Let's build the post office. It'll take us 20 years. Get those workhorses. Hey, Ruckus just showed up. She's really turning.
What's up, Ruckus? Welcome.
Okay, they want me to stop talking until I'm Barry White. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's go, Barry.
Let's
Kaboom. Oh, that was crazy. Sorry.
Etymology.
Yeah. So we are in Missouri.
The city was named after Kabul, Afghanistan. Uh-oh. They said don't confuse it with Kabul.
Boom, baby.
It was named
like
after
it.
Kabul, Afghanistan, right?
So it's tied together.
So which came first? Let's go. Using an older English spelling of the name, 1882. The British Army had just withdrawn from Kabul at the end of the Second Anglo-Afghan War. Now we can look at the Anglo-Afghan War and know that the Afghan is who? Son of Jeremiah, of the house of David, because that's who he was serving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Where'd you find
Solomon.
this guy?
As local legend goes, one of the construction engineers who built the railroad through Kabul also worked on railroad construction in Afghanistan. Come on, man. Y'all out of here with this, man.
Put it in a bottom bag.
So now you got the same damn railroad engineer that worked the railroad.
These narratives.
Look at that. It's all connected, even to the railroad.
It's just crazy.
End of the line for you, baby.
This is wild. Oh, did you tell who this was? I had to take a call.
Yeah, we have the link. We're going to drop it in the chat, and we can send
432, the Drop Radio.
Wow.
Yeah, I put the chat in the link.
I'm all going to be watching this for sure.
The link in the chat.
You put both. The chat's in the link and the link's in the chat. Figure it out.
When I'm really high, I talk backwards like that. I'll be like, I put the chat in the link.
Where is it? Here it is.
That's the part that, because it's like a tree. Is it this part? Yeah, there's another. Where is it? This one?
What is that? Okay, I got it. Thanks.
No,
the link was in the chat, and the chat was in the link.
Is chief.
What?
Whereas Greek authors of ancient classical antiquity refer to it as Ko-Fin or Ko-Fis or Koa.
The place.
Yeah, cabal. I like that. Cabal. It all comes back to a ball, right? BALL that we live on, or BAAL, the ones that they were praying to when God got mad at them. Same thing.
Balls.
Anyway, he showed like other places like the Grand Canyon names and other places. So it's a really interesting video. If you have like 3 hours to spend.
Well, let's sit here and do it. No kidding.
But I guess
I will. I'll do it.
Yeah, I know.
Mega stream right there, 5 hours and over. Mega stream.
So people can look at it themselves.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I like finding new people.
Put the link in one more time, Shapu, if you could, please.
Yeah, Melanie's having issues. She can't scroll back. Her finger doesn't go that way. Yeah. It's so difficult for Melanie to scroll. Big slapping. That name always cracks me up when I see it.
Every time I hear that name, I think it's Steve. I said sleeve. I think it's
Steve. Because of McLovin. Yeah, they used to say look like McLovin.
When I see it, I think
that's freaking hilarious. Yeah. McSlapping. Think in G caps. That's a cool name. What is this? Jerusalem, Salem. Ooh, that's cool. Pull that one up, Jen. That's cool.
What am I pulling up here?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
Or
just
shampoo. Oh, farther up. Keep going. Here we go with the back scratch. A little higher.
Hey,
No
Vet,
comments
here,
up. There you go. What is all this?
Ground pages showing an
So it's
area
like, I guess, comparing it to
named after the Garden of Eden. What?
the grounds page is showing an area of Minnesota that's named. So what are we talking about here? Did you show a picture that connects to this?
Pants on the
No,
grounds page.
I'm not pants on the ground.
Oh, so this is something else. Okay. Sorry.
All right. Well, that sounds cool.
The place in Minnesota, I guess.
Yeah, I'll check it
What
out.
I want to know is
What's the name of the area, if she remembers, or whoever that is?
I want to know where's Adam and Eve at. And I mean, I know they're probably in limbo, waiting for the end of the cycle.
No, you want to know what you want to know? Here's what you want to know.
Where they dead at, like buried?
Well, not that. That's not what you want to know. What you want to know is what the other side's been looking for since the beginning of time. Adam's cave.
Oh, the
Because
cave.
when we got kicked out of the garden, we got stuck in this cave. And eventually we were let out of the cave and exist in the world that we live in. Or maybe we're still in the cave. I don't know. But they were in a cave and they left the golden rods, the incense, the myrrh, whatever. They left that there when they left the cave.
Well, how do we know God didn't send one of his angels to go back and pick that stuff up? And, I mean, that could happen.
Well, there's certain things it talks about. It talks about they left it for whoever was to come up, come across the cave.
I got
So otherwise, I think it would have said, and then God removed everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do believe
this cave has to be near the
this
Garden
cave
of Eden.
exists, and there's stuff, gifts from God in it. And any of these artifacts, right? They're looking for the Ark of the Covenant. Why? Because the pieces of the tablets that God touched, he carved them, are in that, right? And again, you go back to this idea that this magnetism, electricity, whatever you want to call it, God says we need to be honed by the fire to be cleansed. And there's a story in there where they're moving the ark, and there's this guy, and God says, okay, if you're completely perfect or whatever, and I've chosen you, you can touch the ark. No one else touches it, you'll die. And I don't look at it as a punishment. I think he's warning us. Because what happens? The ark shifts. A guy goes to steady it so it doesn't crash. He dies. And so I see that as more of a warning. He said, don't touch it, you'll die. And then the guy dies. So the other people that don't want to listen to this, they'll say, look how evil your God is. He killed that guy. But no, he told them not to do it. And if his word isn't true, then this whole place falls apart. So if he says something, it has to be it. You can't change the word of God. You know what I mean? He could, I guess, but we can't. And so if he says this happens, it happens. Yeah, there's a cave. Read the books of Adam and Eve. And
I don't know what he means by cave. I don't know if it's a melted building or not, or God.
Oh yeah, well, God, the word says cave.
God.
Yeah, it's a cave. It's your
the
own
English
prison.
language. All the different languages that are given to us, they're to control us. So
I said, Patty wants to know, why would Adam and Eve be in limbo? We were talking about the 5,000-year cycle, or 5,500 years. 5,500 years they have to wait before they can go back to the Garden of Eden. Well, if they're still alive and they're waiting for this 5,500 years to be up, or they've passed away, but they are in limbo waiting for that cycle to be done. So
they would have been part of, again, this is my theories. If I believe that Revelation happened, because again, there's evidence of flooded buildings and there's evidence of melted buildings, then there would be 1,000-year reign of Christ, because judgment would happen for everyone that had lived and died at that point, including Adam and Eve. So that at that point, they'd be with God for the 1,000-year reign. And now they're hanging out with him until the end of the short season. And what happens at the end of the short season? The saints and Jesus get surrounded by this great war. How could that happen if they're not here on earth with us? They have to still be here somewhere we're not allowed.
It has to be the center of the plane, what we call the North Pole. It has to be it.
I think it's all going down in Africa, because if you look at it, there's hardly any flights to that top part of Africa. And like on the diagrams I was showing, all the diamonds are found along the coast and stuff. There's a whole area of Africa. Nobody knows what goes on there. That's, I think, where Mount Kilimanjaro is, where Satan's throne, I believe, is. Highest volcano mountain in the world. And in addition to that, look up, we've talked about it. There's a mountain range, the Mountains of the Moon, that's written about in folklore. It's on all these maps. Some of the mountains I've shown with you, Jen, have giant cutouts, holes in them and stuff. But when you look into it, they don't exist on current maps. Now, I've never actually gone there to see, so everything I see either through the computer or through Google Image or whatever, they don't show them. Does that mean they're gone? I don't know, but isn't that a weird thing that we know so little about Africa, except you can do a safari and go to like South Africa, people can go to, just like you can go to certain areas of Antarctica. But the rest of it, we're just told there's nothing there but wild animals and nobody goes there. What the hell's going on there? Right? Toto sings about it, something going on in Africa. They do.
You're right.
There's a whole song about Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that map somewhere here in my photos of that where the center is in Egypt. Like the Egypt Mediterranean area would be the center of our plane instead of
right in Africa. Well, here it's on this book that I got. Where did that book go?
Yeah, Chris asked a question: why does God just have a face-to-face conversation? He does.
He's done that.
Every time. No, he does right now. He's talking to you. You just don't have the tools to listen to him right now. He's talking to you every day, every second, every hour of the week. He's everywhere, you know.
Absolutely.
He's talking to each and every one of us individually. That's what you have to find out about this place. And for me, Adam and Eve, I can tell you what it means for me. Adam means all men, and Eve means all women. So for me, they're everywhere. You know, they have been put here after the reset, and for me it cannot be only one of each. It had to be like everywhere at the same time. And for me, this is what it represents. You know, because I never read the Bible. You know, I never was a real religious or anything. For me, this is what it represents, and I agree with all that you said. But
well, you know what, Shapu, I've never read the Bible until the last few years either. I was told to disregard it and all that, and really the reason I started reading it and looking into it is because all the things that it's proving, like all of these prophecies that are coming true that we can watch in real time.
Yeah.
It's like I can't ignore it. Like, regardless of who wrote it, things are coming true. And no, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying
who wrote it.
It's shocking to me that people won't look at it because
all that is there, it's something that happens with each and every one of us. You know, because since I've started listening to you, Steve, talking about the Bible thing that I never heard before, because all the things that I've wrote and seen in the world, you said it from the Bible, you know. So that's why when you say you don't need the book, you just need to. I totally agree with you, because everyone can see this revelation of this book in the world by themselves. You don't
absolutely.
But if it's a tool, like you said, to better comprehend everything that's going on here.
Yep. Basic instructions for before leaving Earth, right? Yeah. Isn't that how it goes?
Something like that.
So this is a picture, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it from that book. Yeah. And if you see, if God's thrown to center north, it's right over this area that nothing happens. You know, of course, the way I take that back, there's a lot of like turmoil going on with, the Israel areas and all that stuff. But that top portion of Africa, there's just like a dead zone.
Yeah.
All right,
and the cave, like you're talking about, just like Plato's cave, it's your own prison of your mind, So they had to, and the turmoil, it's
a prison of your mind. This cave, and God put Adam and Eve in a cave.
Ooh,
yeah.
Well, then we could still be in it.
Yeah. That's why they're always in limbo, because we have to find our true path in life and true self to realize who really is the God of this world, and why we are here. This is the true path of life here. But it's for everyone to find out themselves. You cannot be told. You can only find it.
All right, you're up.
So see this mountain range.
This big wall.
Yeah.
Yes, this big wall
that
here.
giant wall that cuts Africa in half.
Yeah.
This is from 1805. This one showing the fictional mountains of the moon bisecting the African continent. Why in the heck, if you're paying some guy to make an accurate map, would he just make up a bunch of mountains? I mean, literally, why? Yeah. A bunch of mountains?
Exactly.
Because he heard a story by some ancient elder. Come on. They just make up stuff and we believe it. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what goes on mostly in this area here. But, like the diamond stuff and all around the coastline. And most of the people I know of that have been to Africa, they go like South Africa and, these areas and stuff. See, look, it even is called unknown parts back then. All this is pretty much just unknown, a lot of this. Now, there could be somebody watching that's in South Africa and they say, oh, no, there's towns, but I don't know much about Africa. None of us do, unless we ever go there.
No, so I have like an old map of Africa, and it's full of castle and buildings.
Oh, yeah. Africa, when you start looking at the geological features of Africa, drone footage and stuff, there's mega melt all over the place. There was just all kinds of buildings and stuff there.
Yeah.
And here you go. Here's these mountains again. Why are all these old maps put in these mountains just for kicks and grigs? What is it?
Giggles, shits and giggles?
Yeah, grins and giggles. But your channel shits and giggles. Either way. Although, why would you want shits and giggles? I mean, come on.
I don't even know. We're from Philly. That's how we say it.
Yeah, but break it down. You're saying something that makes no sense. You keep your shit. I don't want it. I'll take your giggles, but I don't want that.
Some goobly gop.
But yeah, so look, they're putting in all these piles of grins and giggles for no reason.
Asses and elbows.
On all of these maps?
Oh, no.
And then they keep putting like half humanoid sea creatures just for shits and grins and giggles.
It looks like they put some extra rivers in too and stuff. Like, see, they don't know which way things are going.
Well, NASA wasn't around. They didn't have the picture from space yet. Oh, here's the one I showed you before.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I remember
I can
this.
make this larger. That's what she said. Let's see. Get rid of that. Scoot over here. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Scoot over. And this is the Oceanus. Oh, what is it? Oh, you should read this. This sounds Frenchish, doesn't it?
Yeah, it must be Latin.
Latin. There we go.
Montibus de Lune. Yeah, the loon is moon. So the Montibus must be the mount of the moon. This is what.
It looks like they're cracking open like a pea or a cabbage patch to get more kids, but that's a whole other show. But yeah, check this out. I'm gonna make this smaller there. See that?
Yeah.
They've got holes in Africa, and look at that.
Wow.
Now that two things I see in this. I see what looks like a cave, water, and bricks.
Oh my God.
You know what I mentioned earlier, that they were like these giant water holding towers? This could be one of them,
See? We don't know what's going on in Africa.
This could be the cave that God put Adam and Eve in.
Yeah, it could be something like that. That could be there. Because if it's in Africa, maybe. I mean, the only things I know so far that came out of there was what? Robert Redford and what's that dude? The other one. But yeah.
What's that? Romancing the Stone?
No, it was out of Africa. It was Redford and that other guy. But yeah, look at that. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely brick back there. I see it.
Brick and water shooting out, forming this lake.
There's a couple of doorways there.
Yeah, right. There's a total arch here. A doorway. There's another one here. So,
I think this is Madagascar off to the right, the island, Madagascar. That's pretty interesting, those islands there, too. We have to dig into that one day.
This is called Mount Gish. Not to be confused with Mount Gash, which is a horrible place. Payas, who arrived at the springs of Gisha Bay in 1618, described the fountains as gushing from the root of a water-filled mountain, Mount Gish.
Oh, water-filled mountain.
Hit it, Jen.
Oh, baby.
There you go. There you go.
Mountains are fountains. They're also buildings that are
mountains are fountains.
Somebody's gonna make a whole hit piece. She said mountains are fountains.
Fountains, yeah, right. That'll be the next one.
How dare she?
Can you believe that? They believe in apes.
A melted mountain of fountains.
Here's another map that they just fit for grins, shits, and giggles. They threw mountains all over the thing that don't.
Yeah,
exist.
right. Where are all these mountains at?
Yeah.
Nowhere. That's where.
So here, where they see wild animals. Okay, so if your lions and tigers and bears admire down here, again, there's not a lot of discussion of what's going on here. I don't know.
I didn't think Africa had bears. They have bears?
Oh, I'm just making that up. What do they got here? They got an elephant. I was going with the flow. Elephant looks like it may be a tiger, a cheetah. There's a lion, or in this reality, that could be a wolf, a yellow one, and that's a tiger.
Okay.
So, okay. So there you go. And they always have these weird symbols and stuff on all this stuff. And sea creatures. For no reason. I think all the map makers were like on some kind of psychedelic and all of the bricklayers were drunk, right? Is that what we're finding out?
Yeah. That's it. That's what we're going with.
Anyways, I mean, you guys do the maps better than I do.
Oops. I love maps.
We
gotta do a whole nother show on maps again, Chapeau.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys rock when you do the maps. So, okay, I'm out. Let's see. There we go. Boing.
All right, Chapeau, we're back to you. What do you got?
Sorry, I took over like that.
Oh, it's all good.
What did I show?
We're going to go for about another 15, 20 minutes. How's that sound?
Not enough time.
Not enough time? Then 25, 30 minutes. How about 30 minutes?
So what do you want to go? Do you want to go into this sintering stuff, or do you want to go to other stuff?
Hit us with what you think is the best right now.
I think we should cover the sintering stuff.
What I didn't know what that means. That's awesome. Let's do the sintering.
Well, people were asking what we were talking about with grain growth and sintering and what happens.
I'd like to see that. And Chapu, you also promised me a picture, I think, of a horse in a window.
Yeah, I will have to send it to you.
No problem. I'm looking forward to it whenever you do.
It's the only picture I could find where they hoist a donkey on top of a building, but it's not a picture. It's an etching, So, they could have made it all up, but only one. They needed only one. So
that's funny.
You're gonna laugh when you're gonna see it.
I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
But okay, so we'll go. Oh, not just present, share screen. So we'll start with this is the inner door. All right, sintering stuff. So we always talk about how these rocks are made and everything. And time with what is sintering, definitive guide. But just to show people what is sintering, what we mean about this type of action that happens to every substance here. They all melt the same way and they all reform the same way. And this sintering, also called frittage, I don't know, is it big enough for you to read?
Yeah,
it looks good.
So it's the process of forming a solid mass of material through heat and pressure without melting to the point of liquefaction. So this process involved the atoms, material, and to bound together into pieces. So they say here, sintering occurs naturally in mineral deposits. So you see, it can happen not only in metal, ceramics, plastic, how you make bricks and stuff, because it's taken things that are in small pieces, like let's take sand, and you want to make glass, you need to melt it into to make it like form a glass solid piece. This is sintering, the same thing as if you want to forge a knife. You can take metal filings, metal powder, just eat it and make it become a solid mass. This is what we mean by sintering.
Right.
And this is the same effect going on with the bricks.
Right, because let me pause you real quick. When we see these giant boulders embedded in a brick wall, or many of them, and even some of them form some kind of pattern, this is what's happening here. It's the sintering.
Yeah. So this is the Wikipedia that I showed last time of sintering. They explain it really good if you generally, because you can use electricity to do it and eat. But electricity is the best way because it doesn't melt it totally. So
What do
it's
they call
easier.
that? Arc welding or something like that? Right?
Yeah, it's called. I know. There's a not plastic, liquid phase. No, electric current. Yeah, here. Electric current assisted sintering. It's the most used way to do it because, like I said, it's not like fire heat when it's harder to control the intensity of the heat.
Right.
But with the electricity, it's they can have more control on it.
Right.
So
this extreme heat event that we keep mentioning, we don't know what this heat was. Could have been caused from an electrical discharge event, some kind of plasma event.
Yeah.
Extreme heat. Lightning is extreme heat event. If you got struck by lightning, there's extreme heat involved in lightning strikes.
Yeah. And if God's wrath came down as like an electrical charge through the whole plane, it would come from below and above and fry everything.
Yeah, but it's got to start first from above at one point, maybe.
Correct.
And exponentially grow through like all the crystalline material that is everywhere. Like you said, everything has crystals in it.
Wasn't that cool? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And if God's wrath came, it would come from above. You're right, Shapu.
Exactly. And it would be like a plasma event of some sort. People want to make fun of these plasma events. Oh, you think it just happened from some plasma event? Like we're a fucking tardy or something. But there's proof that this can happen. And it looks like we have evidence that it has happened all around us.
Yeah, and it can propagate just like what's the pattern again? The Lichtenberg pattern, towards into the earth, to the crystalline material, and creating like charges everywhere, especially on these giant tall building that has the pressure of all the brick compacting together, creating this current, and it can be like exponentially everywhere, and you can see it that it can discharge if you do not really know what to do. You do it with this electricity.
Yeah, this kind of heat, it would be like over 10,000 degrees.
And look, you talk about diamonds, and this is how they do it to use for the production of diamond metal matrix. They use this type of thing, So,
electric current. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, can I make a comment too about in the chat? So Chris says, would it be crazy if I tried to build my own spiritual communicating ether conducting transceiver helmet? And my answer to that is you have one. His name is Jesus. Boom, baby.
Boom, baby. I like that.
One. Your body is one.
Yeah, because God's in you.
Yes. Yeah. But if you never had any like out of body experience, it's harder for you to comprehend this communication with. But if you had one, you see it totally, because we were supposed to do like a show about paranormal thing, Jen.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about my experience with that, but we do it on another show. and then I had like videos, good things for people to try to experience this thing, to really know your place in here, because when you do this, you really see it, why you are here and what is your purpose to be here, so
It's interesting, the near-death experiences that I've listened to, these people have an outer body experience. They see themselves laying on the ground, and then they come back with all this information of their true purpose of being here, or what the plan is, and all this stuff like that. You hear that a lot in the near-death experiences.
But all of these experiences are for you. It was your experience, not nobody else can see or experience what you have experienced. So this is only
you can experience something from that, because like when you tell your stories, because I there's a lot of stuff I don't talk about on air, but when my dad, before he passed away, the years before that, he went in the hospital and he went in a coma, and they said he wasn't going to make it then. And I used to go there every day and talk to him and play music and stuff and all that. And he told me stories of what happened when he was in a coma, things that he saw and stuff. And so even if it didn't happen to me, I learned from that,
Yeah, but when it will happen to you, you will totally understand even more. This is what, because you had the knowledge of it, and then now you can really have the experience of it. But not, like I said, I want to talk about I've been unconscious so many times, but never had these view until I had out of body experience later in life. But
yeah, we're going to reschedule that paranormal show. I just had a lot going on over the last couple of weeks, guys, and
that's called a teaser anyway. So now we're all waiting.
that's perfect.
Like I said to Jen, you want me to explain all the near-death experience I had? I had so many. It's just, why did it happen to me? All of this, I should be dead by now, but I'm not. Something else.
No wonder you're so into cats, because you have like 9 lives, right?
Probably because
you have a purpose here, Shapu, and we're not done yet.
Yeah.
So we'll go into this sintering thing, and what I believe, what happened here, it's more like a microwave sintering, because we don't see this energy coming through everywhere. Yeah, I hear it. I don't know why.
How's it now?
Is it echoing now again?
No, we're good.
No. Okay.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, but in the Matrix, it's like something that's coming into our stream listening. So, so yeah, the microwave, it's more like what we see around it, because it's not. It's like a what is it called? Induction, like you cannot see the effect in your microwave, depending on which material you put in. You put like your food into your bowl, but if you have a microwave going bowl, the bowl stays cool, but all the things inside just heat up. So that's why it's more like a microwave eating, because
that makes sense.
Yeah, it depends on the material.
And think of that. Yeah. If God, of course, could do anything, if he created a situation like a microwave, well, then anything could melt. I mean, you can melt anything in a microwave.
Yeah, but this particular microwave stuff, it doesn't affect our bodies. This is the best thing. It does not melt people. It melts other stuff, because yeah.
Yeah, Shapu always brings it to the table, doesn't he? I love it. I love you, Shapu.
See, I'm picking up what you're laying down now. That's
right?
Nice.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because this wave, what you call it, this is just like here, bioceramic. These bioceramic, you put that to inhibit this. If they don't want this particular material to be transformed. They put this bioceramic in bio, it's us, so it doesn't get affected. And
see, wow.
Yeah, and we got
almost like it had an intelligent design.
Well, they have these things
Exactly.
now where you can tune into the frequency of wood and carve it, but it wouldn't mess up, like, say, the paper if you went over onto the paper or something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's a frequency thing.
Well, isn't that what we're basically saying, that the old civilization, they knew how to use these frequencies, and that's how they carved these things, and they could attack people and all that
I
stuff.
had something up going with that. Okay, so I'll just bring it up.
Okay.
So this is about, I don't know if you see it big enough. I'll just boost it a little
that's
bit.
good. We can see it.
So this is a text. I posted it. The lost civilization reemerges. But the text here, the first part of it was really interesting because he talks about of the Vedic civilization, how they use this, the thing that you just talked about, just to mention, Richard. Look, how they civilization, how they achieve all this wonderful buildings and stuff. According they did it according to the natural law, like I said.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
What does that mean? That means God.
Yeah, exactly. But they use these technologies of consciousness to connect their minds to the unified field.
I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about, in a way.
Yeah. The same field that physicists discovered, and everything is connected with it. And with the right techniques, we can contact it. This field, like, beyond the boundaries of perception and thoughts, but beyond individuality and time and space. Yes.
See, I think that's what Adam and Eve was connected to already in the garden.
Well, no, here's what happened, because that goes exactly with it, because Adam complains about that, is when they get thrown out of the garden. That's why he asked God for some comfort in the cave. He no longer can hear the angels. He can't smell their beautiful scents that he could smell. He can't see them. We're cut off, because once we ended up in the fallen realm, we have to be like Satan, who was cut off. And so that's how he connected it to us, is what I believe, is that, like, if you want to, that's when I was making the comment that Chris had asked about the helmet to talk to God. I believe, this is my thought, not a religion. I believe that Christ is our salvation. And if we learn that, we get that connection back, and we have that connection to God all the time. It doesn't mean he's always going to show himself and burn a bush, but talk to Moses. He was terrified when God talked in front of him. So there's signs of God all around you. There's blessings happening to you all the time. You call it luck. And that's the way I see it. That's why I believe Jesus is that connection, because we can fine tune ourselves and get that connection and blessing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Which is exactly what you're showing in that article. It's pretty wild, just in a different package.
Yeah.
But they're talking about being connected to ether, and they're saying you have to be in laws of nature, and I say laws of God, same thing.
Because you say the version of the Christian, and this is the Vedic one. It's all
the same.
It's all the same.
That's why there is no religions.
Right.
They just put these labels on us to keep us divided.
And the oldest book that talks about all this is the Bible. So why wouldn't I read it? You know what I mean?
Like the song, only the name changes. So.
Yes.
But it's not even that anymore. So.
Right. And the Mayans are no longer the Mayans.
Right over here.
Yeah. So that's what they say. The field is the ultimate source of all energy, intelligence, and happiness. And you really see it when you have these OBEs, out of body experience. You really see this, and these experience them have their own deepest self. So their action were always life supporting. Everything that they did was to promote life, not to like we see today to end life.
Right.
And then what happens? You get endless resources and free energy.
Yeah. So this, like, the consciousness they're based on effortless technology of consciousness.
You wouldn't have to get in a plane. You could just go there.
Right.
Allowing them
telephone.
Yeah.
You don't need these computers.
That's right.
Yeah, no, they didn't, because they had the full connection, you know.
They didn't have to deal with YouTube, you know.
No.
If you whisper it, they don't hear you talking about it.
No, they didn't have the tube. They just had you. So.
Right. Ooh, I like what he did there. He gets a drop for that, but that's all right. What do we got?
So yeah, they talk about all the natural law and the personal, all the our actions in the harmony with the nature and the contact with the field, the alignment with the as an individual in a society that is all about these going to the good for everyone, not just to anyone, you know.
Yeah.
But this is what's missing today. It's all the good for only one person, not everyone, and this is where we got it wrong.
And to tie it, as I like to, Jesus, when he shows up, that's what he says too.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about who's special people and who isn't. You're all special. Just figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Same idea.
And here they call it the golden age, and in the Christian they call it the reign. You know, the
millennial reign.
Interesting, they make it gold. We were just talking. Where does that come from? Heaven.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even way back then, gold was always like the thing. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's just the part I wanted to. I'll share the
and you find some great stuff.
Really,
the old article. It's, you know, like here you see 1,000 years, 2,000 years. They go into planets and unknown dates, you know. But there's a between the lines. Good.
Right, you can find the truth in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always hidden in his story, right, Jen?
Yes.
Absolutely. It should be our story, but it's his story.
Yeah. But that's it. We got to work it out together. We can't tell people, don't look at this. What if I told you stop looking at that because you're being an idiot? What does that get you? It gets us nowhere.
No.
I've had people tell me, stop looking at flat Earth. You're being an idiot. You're retarded.
Yeah, they told me that too.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same people.
We were talking about this sintering, how we heat smaller to make a bigger material.
Yeah.
But this goes with the grain growth, because the grain growth, you can see it, that that refers to an increase in the size of the crystal, the grains in the material at high temperature again. Because we showed, it can grow like this. You know, the grain growth, this is a normal grain growth.
You made me think about something I'm going to bring up. Go ahead.
And when you have an abnormal grain growth, depending on the wind change, the temperature change, and it drastically change, in a millisecond, you know, it's not something that goes gradually. It's right now, right there. So these are all the type of grain structures. That's called grain growth. You know, you got this deformed state. This one has recovered. It's all the same, but partially recrystallized, fully crystallized. And you can see all these shapes in buildings.
And the brick walls everywhere we see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's identical. It's identical, guys. This explains it.
Like
this is the science that we're looking for.
You can see these walls. These type of bricks here look smaller, bigger.
Wow.
And I found like a new video. I told you.
Yes, you did.
Where is it? Oh, this one. So this one, it's really explain another type of grain growth. But look, you can see the difference because of the grain growth has grow normally all around here, but then it stop and begin another kind of cycle of growth.
Wow.
And then it grows, you see, the way it does. So you can have big type, small types, bigger ones between. And that's what we see.
This reminds me of that basalt city. What's it called? Oh God, I forget the name of it now.
Padang.
Yes, Padang, Madal, whatever. Yeah, that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, and you can see how imagine this is like a window or a door that is, and we clearly see sometime that it's all shut down and brick
closed on itself.
closed
Yes.
on itself. This
Wow.
could be the process that it closed on itself by
Look at
just
that.
ring growth, you know.
Shampoo with the animation. Look at that.
Because this really like can I find like a brick wall that looks like, yeah, you can see all these different patterns, but I think I've got it one like this one. You can see that it's bigger here and becoming smaller, just smaller grain.
Yes. Yes.
And,
Yes.
like these ones, you can see
Oh, I love
much
it.
bigger, a little smaller.
One right here, I think.
And then that's one of my favorite pictures you have, because the other narratives is the giant workhorses brought those stones and they chiseled them to the exact like Tetris style things. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, go back a picture, Shapu. This stuff, they've told us that they somehow molded them into shape, or they chiseled each one out perfectly to make these earthquake-proof walls. That's the narrative, guys.
With no
This just
seams.
shows you proof of what's happening here. What we're proving, the heat, the melt that we're talking about is going on here with actual science here.
You can't put a piece of paper between those seams.
No.
Because it's centered together. It's growth. It grew into each other. I don't know how to explain it. Shampoo does it better.
This green growth, this text does it. Internal energy, molecular structure.
Can I ask you a question? Because it ties in with my J book. Because you're describing this grain growth, and it says on there because of what? Fire, right? Or heat, I guess. Heat,
heat,
right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So go with me on this idea.
Yep.
So diamonds, or crystals rather, in general, listen to what my book says. It says, you remember the old game, animal, vegetable, or mineral? These are the three kingdoms found in nature. All of them evolve entities that are formed in nature. Minerals, unlike the other two, are inorganic substances. They are not, and have never been, alive. So, if they don't grow because they're dead, because dead things can't grow,
What? Yeah.
they grew because of fervent heat.
Exactly.
Right? Boom, baby.
Boom, baby.
So now you can explain crystal growth from the melt. Give me that dude with the mother, Jen. You got to hit it. You can explain crystal growth from Revelation.
Motherfucker.
Exactly right, Ceiling Fan Man. This is the proof we were looking for.
Both.
Exactly.
Wow.
And do you think it's an accident that the whole conversation has come full circle? We did not plan out this show.
Is anybody else mind blown about that? That's
my mind is blown right now. Yes.
It's because Shapu's thing there. It connected it to it.
It connected because the Holy Spirit is leading us to connect this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Look
Good
here.
job.
They explain how it grows. One grain, one single piece of crystal, one grain may grow by absorbing the atoms from the neighboring grain.
Right. Like we say, the brick melts into the other brick and it becomes another brick and another brick. You're seeing that in these patterns that he's showing.
And that's how you get your crystal grain growth.
Yes.
Yeah. Here, like this.
Yes.
Like this pattern.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, polygonal walls, everything.
Yeah, you see everything in this.
And when we talk about crystals, I'm talking not like the stuff you can pour sand in the water and it makes a tube. I mean, that's a whole other issue.
No.
Well, I don't want them to start a new straw man argument. There's difference of crystals.
Yeah, they will.
Of course they will. I'm trying to stop them before they start.
Yeah. Like this, so you can really, and just another one with the color.
Looks exactly like the walls.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how they come into one piece and single. And I saw that
And you also showed it one time with bubbles. It's the same idea. You can do it at home with bubbles.
Yeah, do I have it here?
In case somebody wants to play along at home. You might not have fervent heat and crystals. Yeah, same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing.
I mean, we have to respect the laws of nature. It's right in front of your eyes.
Absolutely.
And another one is biological things disintegrate and does not become really like a stone unless they have certain like conditions, you know.
Right. Extreme certain conditions, yes.
Yes. And I found like something really interesting again. That because this thing, look, you can see it really. This is what really is petrified wood, because you will see that there's a shell around it to inhibit air or water moisture to come. You will see that.
Oh wow!
Look, there's this rock shell all around it, but you can see that this piece of
the
wood,
organic material, did not. Right, exactly what you're saying. I got you.
Because
that is so interesting.
we see a lot of these petrified wood, what they call petrified wood, just lying on top of the surface, nothing around it. And I don't know how it must be something else, like probably where they did nuclear bomb tests or something like that created these woods. Not this type of what they explain here, because this is the truly way to petrify something, you know. But it has to be surrounded by no air, no moisture, because if there's moisture, it will disintegrate.
Right, it'll rot away.
It will rot away, disintegrate. But not this, because it was stuck in.
It was encased, yes.
Yeah, it was encased in.
It was encased by the melt, it looks like.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah.
Because this is why we see when they dig down, say Santorini, for instance, and you can see all the muffed up brick, it's ballooned out, it's grain growth, but yet you'll see wood in there. And everybody's like, well, how come the wood didn't go, it didn't evaporate in all this extreme heat? This is explaining it to a certain extent, I feel.
Yeah.
And they chisel it all away and excavate it out, then they're showing the wood.
Yeah, and they look, like, I will show you another one that I found. They found like a oh shit, where is my stuff? StreamYard, no, this here. This, you seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
Here, look what they say here. Storm reveals a 400,000 years old forest. Okay, and they call it the submerged tree that are this old. But if you look, it's still like wood. You know, it's not a rock. So how?
So that's a tree root? Is that a tree stump, like with the roots coming out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And everything else disintegrated away, like melted away, but that stayed.
Yeah, look, because
wow.
Is it this?
Wow.
Yeah, look, this is all around it, just melt. But they call it petrified wood. But you will see that it's not, because look, you can still see the grain. It's probably just will rip off if you scratch on it. You know. You can see, look.
Wow.
Still the wood. They say it's 4,000 years old. You know. But it's not petrified.
Yeah.
Oh,
Again.
look at that.
This thing. It's not a rock. You can see the rock, the melt, and the wood. You can clearly see the difference between them and the brick.
Wow, my mind is blown right now.
Yeah. Because I even showed a piece, I'll show you when you come back, this I have a rock that says it's petrified wood, and those are petrified wood, and they're,
Yeah.
they're wood.
No, they call it that because it looks like wood, but the real process that they explain, it's the what's it called again? The minerals take the place of the wood. That's why it looks like the wood, but it's the mineral.
Well, I see what you're
Because
saying.
it took the place of the wood.
Wow, look at that.
But you can clearly see the wood, but this is like melt around it.
Wow, this explains a lot. This is a really huge piece to the puzzle here.
Right?
You see the wood is still there. Again.
Look at that.
Wow. That looks like the side of a boat or something.
Well, I think it says it's a shipwreck.
Yes, there's
Okay,
a
there you
shipwreck
go.
between all of this.
And along with the roots. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is a place they discovered like 2 years ago, I guess. Was it 2018? Yeah. Yeah. No, two years out. We're still in 2020, you know. Yeah.
Look at that.
That's really cool.
So
That
this
is cool.
yeah, this just put people to think about this petrified wood thing, you know.
Yeah, is that red rock down there a brick?
I was thinking that too.
You got me doing that, Jim, whenever I see anything red.
Yeah, and here, look, they said that these petrified tree stump has been there at least 7,000 years ago. So just
wow.
Because they know that.
No, they don't. They just say something.
Well, they should be able to date the tree.
Yeah, but it's like arguing with a 10-year-old. They make up the math and then they say they're right.
But then the first written account of the submerged forest dates from 1871. You know?
Of course.
Nothing exists prior to the 1800s.
No,
It's
nothing.
so crazy.
The rest is just stories. We you know. Anyway.
Yeah, the Romanoffs and all them guys, they wrote all the stories.
Yeah. So where we? Oh, into the grain growth. Yeah.
This is fascinating.
It just is, man. I'm telling you what, class is now in session. It's been in
I've
session.
learned quite a bit already.
I hope you guys are taking notes.
I know some people.
You know, this grain growth, I explain it in the temperature recrystallization, you know. This is what it's called because it's not crystallization because the crystal is already crystal. So
It's like founded. It's
exactly.
The recrystallization. Well, when did the first one happen? Shut up.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You think this is a joke?
Yes, I do. This whole realm is a joke.
Yeah. And they just showed what I talked about, this normal grain growth and abnormal grain growth. Because normal grain growth, it's all exactly same.
Like honeycombed.
Yeah, honeycomb, perfect size, because there has been no interference in the growth.
Which was probably the natural stage before the fervent heat got introduced. Then you get the whatever cancerous looks, right?
Yeah, anything can impede the growth because a change of 0.1 degree can change the growth.
This is,
anything.
Why we would see a wall that is half all bloated out and bubbled out and marshmallowed out, and the other half of the wall might look okay, and then it happens again a little ways down. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a slight heat differential will change it.
Yes.
Wow.
So what did I have?
In medieval history, it's all fake. The Wild Wild West is all fake. It was created in Hollywood.
All that fake.
Gold Rush. It goes on and on.
No, the Wild West doesn't do anything because we clearly know they had giant buildings before that, and they build like wooden houses and stuff.
Yeah. And then two guys can get mad and one kills the other, and you still go to dinner the next night there? I wouldn't freaking step the foot in there again. Honey, you're making me all my meals at home. That place is nuts.
This see, look where we learned all that stuff from: textbooks and TV shows and movies.
Right.
You know what I mean? None of us were there. We don't know. It's just a big old narrative that we've bought this whole time because we've been conditioned to.
Yeah. But they're fun stories, and if you look at them that way, then that's what they are, just like space.
Yeah, just like I sent you CFM some stuff to show on your show from space earlier today.
Oh yeah, I got them. Thank you. I had them pulled up.
They talk about now again. They want to bring out the ninth planet. Nibiru is coming back again.
Any day now. I've been waiting for Nibiru since 2009.
And he sent me an asteroid one. I actually stopped talking about the asteroids because there was one like every week.
Yes.
And they're just constant now. So it's so funny that and again, that's scripturally written too, but whatever. So
yeah, we know that these are things that are like precursor to some kind of event coming, so it's always been there.
And we all thought that the alien invasion was going to be like Independence Day where they blow up the empire and all that stuff. No, it's this slow rollout. We're like, what's that? Is that a potato in the sky? Oh, they shot it down. It's an alien. Well, did you find any parts? No, couldn't find anything. They haven't found any parts.
Do you guys remember when we covered the Book of Miracles and it was showing everything from like the 14 and 1500s and stuff, and how we were saying how the first part of Revelations probably already happened and we're in the last part? I think that Book of Miracles was showing a lot of that stuff, like that, like wormwood, that flaming torch in the sky that was falling.
I remember that.
All this stuff, the castles that looked like they were melting down and people were like getting sucked into the ground and stuff, and all this crazy stuff, fire falling out of the sky, like fire droplets and stuff. And these things were documented. And just look up.
Well, what it seems to be is that it's so hard to find the real truth in the words because it's his story, but we're finding it where? In maps, in the old maps, the old photos and drawings and etchings. Somehow that stuff makes it through. Mm-hmm. And some people say in poetry too. I haven't spent much time in there, but there's certain ways that the old generations were able to get messages through, I believe.
Yeah.
Just like I read from the Vedic, everything it's written in the etheric field. They call it just the field, but I call it the etheric field. All the information is there, you can, because this thing, like artists, like as I say, artists, you can be any artist, like a writer, like a guy that writes poem, a guy that's draw or paint things. They get this kind of information from this field, directly, and that's why they can do this thing. They don't even know maybe why they do it, because I'm an artist. I draw. I've been drawing since forever. I never took any courses, and I can draw like people and stuff.
Did you draw the stuff behind you?
Which one? No, not on my, but on this wall there and this wall. I have some. But but sometimes I draw stuff, like I drew stuff like 20 years ago, and I look at it now and I see, oh my God, it's thing that's going on right now. It's, because I never knew about it, but I drew it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you don't know until it happens. You know what it
You're
is. The events.
I know someone else that's done that, drawn pictures that one's come and one maybe hasn't yet. It's pretty fascinating, and that's written about in the Bible that'll happen to some people. Yeah. You're doing prophetic drawings. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but songs and, like you said, poems, they have bits of information. They don't know where they got it or everything, but it means something. Maybe it doesn't mean something right now because you didn't see it. Mm-hmm. But once you see it, now you know it. You cannot know it before it happens. You can only speculate, and when it happens, oh, that's what the song meant, or the painting meant. So
yeah, if you have that, that's a blessing, Shapu. What a beautiful thing to experience.
But everyone has it.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying if you've actually drawn things that that's awesome. But you're right. That's how they get it through history. We're still seeing it today on maps and stuff. and they just tell us that they're all crazy and draw mountains and stuff for no reason. What a joke.
What I want to know is why would they forget to put Vesuvius in on maps or Mount Fuji on maps that should clearly be there and have been documented since, what, 79 AD for Vesuvius? How can you miss Vesuvius? You know?
So they're going to put in mountains that don't exist and leave off ones that do. That makes sense.
Huge volcanoes that, oh, I missed that. Sorry.
And then it was, of course, Chapu's picture that shows one of those looking Vesuvius-like bricks in it. Out of your vault, Chapu.
Oh, I don't know. Do I have one?
It was a drawing of a map you saw, or you showed it, where Vesuvius was listed and it looked like a building.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jen found it.
Oh, I was crediting the wrong person. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good. I wouldn't have found it without Chapu's help because
we
were looking for maps and we were looking at old maps and I kept looking for Vesuvius on the oldest maps I could find, ancient maps if I had to go that route. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Of course, I had to have people check it and double check it. And, I didn't want to just think I was seeing something that wasn't there, but it was there.
Yeah.
Follow the yellow brick road.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I think I'm going to get ready to close this down. I definitely would like to do another show with you guys in the future soon. But for now, I think I'm going to get ready to go because I'm getting tired. You guys have any closing comments or anything? Any announcements or anything like that you want to put out there to the world?
Chapu?
No, not really.
You're tired. I can tell you're tired. I kept you up late tonight. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll say thank you for once again having me. I just love listening to both of you and letting me talk. And maybe I talked a lot tonight. I apologize. But my show Friday, 6:00. Jen's going to be on it again, and maybe a couple other guests. So as soon as I lock it all down, I'll put up a thumbnail and let you know. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Showing up's half the battle.
Yeah, we always have fun with you.
We do. We have a great time. And I always get so many compliments on the three of us. And even when Steve's with us as well, we just all have such a good rapport and, what do they call that? Banter or something. But anyway, let me see here. I got to get my stuff lined up here to end out the show because I don't want to miss anything here. Where is that one thing we got here? Okay. All right, guys, we're going to go out with a song. I love you guys. And let it not be said that we stood by and did nothing. I love you guys. And
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Richard.
We are out of here.